Analysis. PGA Tour Radio. Sirius XM 92.
Iron Mike Keenan, former NHL head coach, came on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. That's Sirius XM Channel 91. He was on to promote his new book, Iron Mike, My Life Behind the Bench, and he took some time to talk about his career, specifically the regrets and the influences.
When you get a chance to sit down now and you think back on all these times, any regrets?
Yeah, of course you have regrets. I had the heat turned up quite a bit at my own distraction. So I could have, and I evolved, and even Greg, you just mentioned Greg Gilbert. He said, Mike, you're completely different here in New York than you were in Chicago. So you learn from your own mistakes, and for some reason I was so driven. I took it personally if we lost, personally. And I was miserable. And I could have probably managed the principles of my coaching career and what I thought was important, that I would always stay intact with those. But the methodology could have been turned down a bit and probably
a little too intense?
A little bit smoother.
A little too intense?
At times, yeah. For sure.
Now, big names, Scotty Bowman, Roger Nielsen, Tom Watt. I mean, I don't know, mentors, friends. How did they all influence Mike Keenan?
Well, first of all, I played for Tom at University of Toronto, and then we developed a close relationship, and I would talk to him a lot about coaching. Now I'm in Peterborough. He'd come and see me, and we developed sort of a minor league team for him, because the guys that couldn't play for U of T right away, like Mike Polino, come out to play with me in Oshawa. And so we developed a relationship that way. But we talked a lot about hockey. He taught me more about hockey than anybody else. And then Roger and I had a relationship through Peterborough. We're getting now into the sort of the technical part of video replay and how that got. And then I got Scotty Bowman, the greatest ever. He hires me for the first time, probably saw a little bit of himself in me. And he's calling me in the middle of the night after every game. He drives home from Rochester, and at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm not exaggerating, sometimes an hour conversation in the middle of the night. Why did you put Bob Mongrain on the penalty killing at that time? Like, okay, Scotty. But he was just, and he would test me all the time, and I just give him a firm belief in what I thought was right, and he respected that. So it was interesting and then we became friends over the years. It was a real 3 guys that really influenced my career.
That was Iron Mike Keenan, former NHL head coach and author of Iron Mike, My Life Behind the Bench. He was in conversation with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for the Morning Skate on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. That's Sirius XM Channel 91.
Sirius XM has soccer covered end to end. Sirius XM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's Sirius XM FC on Channel 157.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Internet 924. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Internet 924. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
Former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan came on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, and he was asked about the long Alexei Kovalev shift during his time in New York, and he shared his side of the story about the skilled offensive talent that was Kovalev.
The Alexei Kovalev shift. I've heard 7 minutes. I've heard 9 minutes. Hey, you stay out there. You kind of figure it out. Describe to us what went into that. How long was a shift? Certainly Kovalev was a talent, that's for sure, but he was a bit of an enigma.
Super talent.
Yes.
And talented people sometimes are elusive. And Alex, I try to explain to him, you're getting 20 minutes, and I don't want the shifts to be 1 minute, so you have 20 shifts. I'm going to give you 40 shifts at 30 seconds so you can build the intensity up. Understand? Yeah, I understand, Mike. Goes out there. Of course, it's a minute and a half. I said, now, Alex, the guy that's supposed to be playing behind you just missed his shift because now we're going to the next rotation. You're out there for 2 rotations. Okay, Michael. So, again, next thing, does it again. So I said, oh, my God. So I said, okay, guys, this time when he comes back to the bench, he's now going to overextend his shift. He's going to be a little tired. Don't open the doors. He comes over and I said, get out. He thinks I love him now. Get back out there, I said. So then he comes over again. And now I said, guys, he's going to want to climb into the bench because he's done. I said, when he comes over, puts his leg up, push him back out. And they pushed him. But now they are laughing on the bench. This is in New York City. Right during the game, back there. So Alex figures it out. He scores a goal in the middle of this shift.
Wow.
He gets himself a rest, stays out there, finishes the period. So I think it's about 9 minutes. I walk off the bench. I said, Mess, explain it to him, will you, please? I said, I will. Don't worry. I'll look after it. So as a result, we fast forward now to the playoffs in Game 6, playing New Jersey. In the Jersey series, I double shifted him. When he had to come back, and he was electrifying. Mess got the 3 goals, but Alex was a horse. And it's very talented, powerful. And the problem was he was so efficient that he could stay out, but he didn't grasp the concept of just picking up the intensity. You could see him. He could dangle and hang on to the puck and nobody could take it from him. He was resting while he was out there. So
in essence, it was a bit of a training ground for what was to come against the Devils at the most important time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a good lesson for him because that's what he did in that game. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I just said, Alex, I'm going to double shift you. Get ready. Don't be out too long.
That was former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan in conversation with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin for the morning skate on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. That's Sirius XM Channel 91.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice, strategy, and information from the best fantasy sports analysis to win your league. Plus, hear pick-by-pick coverage of live drafts and interviews with top players, coaches, and team executives on SiriusXM 87.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 936, Hurricanes on Internet 924. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 936, Hurricanes on Internet 924. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 930. Kings on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
Former Buffalo Sabres head coach Don Granato was on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, channel 91, to talk about how different today's athletes are, as well as what it's been like to watch Austin Matthews grow.
It's really a switch in the last 10 years. First birth year I had at the national team program was 95 birth year. So it was JT Compher, Tyler Mott, that group. You have them for 2 years, so the next birth year coming in was the 97s, which was prolific. It was Austin Matthews and Matthew Tkachuk and McAvoy and Hanifin, Werenski. And I remember talking to the coaches back then that this birth year is way different than the 95 birth year. And this summer, ironically, I picked up a book that titled The Anxious Generation. And I thought it was very well documented, and the author used the iPhone. And the iPhone came out in 2008 or 6, somewhere in that range. But social media didn't hit hard on the iPhone, where you could rate a kid's looks if you're a high school student. And so judging other people on a social media app on the iPhone was about 2013. And so now you think about all these kids going to high school, and we never had this. They can be made fun of on social media. They don't even know it, and they're walking out of a classroom and people are laughing. Yeah. So it's a different world we all live in, because we're all criticized and compared to more and faster. And with that, you need to balance that with support. And I think, lots of coaches that have gone, that I watch around the league in the NHL, there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of good young coaches that are really good at that. The X's and O's, I say to people, are easy now. When the X's and O's are a very simple part of hockey. It's connecting with people and getting people motivated and excited. And that's changed dramatically. X's and O's became big when video hit the computer. You could watch 100 or 1,000 forechecks over and over and over and say, okay, these are the key components on a forecheck. And so, you didn't have to be in the NHL to become better at that. So that's the easy part. I just can't imagine doing this or that I did it. I called Brian Matthews one time in Austin's U17 year. And I said, Brian, I said, do you have any idea how good your son is? And his reply was no. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you, what is this conversation? And I had to explain to him, and I said, I think this is what's going to happen, Austin. I said, You honestly have to prepare for your life to become very chaotic and crazy. And lo and behold, he gets drafted in Toronto instead of some different market. And we know how crazy it can be here.
Oh, yeah.
But and then the last thing I'll say on it is I remember leading up to the draft, lots of people said, "Can he handle Toronto?" And I thought, absolutely, no problem. And the biggest thing for me is when a young player comes in the league, and we talked about it earlier, if they're a -2 or 3 and they have a really tough night, you get to know how they're going to respond. And some that breaks their confidence, and maybe they need a stint in the AHL. You got to get them out of the pressure. Mm-hmm. But Austin was so good that if that happened, and when it's happened in his career, it doesn't hurt his confidence. He knows that he's in that category of player that I know I can redeem myself just get me to the next game now. And they can do, the best players can do that. And that's a different echelon of player at the NHL level that can do that. So if you look at the top players in the NHL, their confidence is not going to break. The guys right under that, they have a bad night. They may not want that next game.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Track.
Animals, the Chainsmokers, Shabuzi, and many more. Join us in Montreal at Parc Jean Drapeau from August 1st to 3rd. Tickets on sale now at Osheaga.com.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Montreal downtown. It is Game 3 inside the Bell Center between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. Huge one tonight with the Caps already up 2-0 in this best-of-7 series. Victor Finley with JP O'Connor on hand tonight in the broadcast booth. But first, let's go down to ice level pre-game festivities as the Habs and Capitals take to the ice.
Messier, ladies and gentlemen, accueillons nos Canadiens! La formation de départ, the starting lineup, le numéro 15, number 15, Alex Newhook. Le numéro 21, number 21, Caden Goulet. Le numéro 48, number 48, Blade Hudson. Le numéro 71, number 71, Jake Evans. Le numéro 93, number 93, Ivan Demidov. 35, number 35, Samuel Montembeault.
Well, it sounds like this crowd is ready for some hockey tonight, and we don't have to wait much longer for puck drop in Game 3. That was PA announcer Michel Lacroix with the starting lineup. We'll send it back over to him now to get you teed up for the Canadian and American national anthems.
Mesdames, Messieurs, veuillez demeurer debout. Retirez chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux. Malgré les récents événements, nous vous demandons, dans l'esprit de ce grand sport qui nous unit, de respecter les hymnes canadiens et américains, ainsi que les joueurs qui représentent fièrement les deux pays. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Remove your hats and caps for the singing of the national anthems. Despite the recent events, we ask, in the spirit of this great game that unites everyone, that you kindly respect the Canadian and U.S. national anthems and the players representing each country. Veuillez maintenant accueillir, please welcome, Alexandre Sylvestre, accompagné à l'orgue par Diane Bibeau.
Game number 3 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. in this Eastern Conference quarterfinal. Let's get you introduced to the starting netminders tonight. No changes from the first two games. Logan Thompson, boy, how good has he been through the first two games of this series? 58 stops on 61 shots and .951 save percentage against the Montreal Canadiens. And Sam Montembeault, who had 31 wins in the regular season, that tied him for sixth most in the National Hockey League with Logan Thompson of the Washington Capitals. And Montembeault's been pretty good here in the first two games in his own right. JP, the Habs are home. This is as big of a game as they've had all season, and it's going to be their best chance to try and turn this series around.
Well, first game back in the Bell Center, at least with fans in it since 2017 in the playoffs. It is a must-win. It's fitting circumstances. If there's a building that you want to play that game in, it's right here in Montreal.
No place we'd rather be tonight. As we drop the puck on game number 3, the Montreal Canadiens start out with Alex Newhook, Jake Evans, and Ivan Demidov. As the puck goes back behind the Montreal net, here is Lane Hudson with Caden Gooley. Out to center ice, it's tipped in by Demidov. In behind the net, throws it back toward the line. This is cut off by Brandon Duhaime, and he'll play it down the ice. That's going to go for icing as the Capitals start with their fourth line, JP, and Brandon Duhaime, Nick Dowd, and Taylor Radish. That was arguably their best line in game number 2.
Well, no way that you would consider that a fourth line. Victor, Duhaime, Dowd, and Radish all had around 15, 16 minutes time on ice. It's been a formidable line, very strong in their own defensive zone, and they've really sharpened up the shoulders. They've delivered lots of hits to the Canadiens early in this series.
No lineup changes tonight for the Washington Capitals. There was some discussion as to whether Alexei Protas would be ready to go tonight. He took the morning skate. We know his return is imminent as we face off in the Washington zone. Far side, Habs win it back. Lane Hudson along the line, tries a shot. That deflects off a body in front. Down low it goes down for Suzuki as his line gets their first shift of the night. Puck goes through to the far side. Here's Lane Hudson. Works it in behind the net. Picked off by Rasmus Sandin. Sandin passing off to Taylor Radish. Moved back behind the Washington net. Matt Roy off the glass and out past Lane Hudson through center ice. Caden Gooley back into the Montreal zone. Gallagher will step onto the ice with Dvorak and Anderson for the first time this evening. As the Canadiens start the breakout to center ice, here goes Josh Anderson right past Dubois, up the middle with a shot. First save of the game made by Thompson. Pretty good one off the blocker side.
Oh, it's really good. I was keeping an eye on Tom Wilson as well as he followed Anderson in the corner. We've seen sparks fly between those two in the first two games. Wilson comes in just to bump him after the whistle. Everybody charged up to play this game, and game 3 to me generally is when the game within the game begins. You've had a couple of games to chip guys, you've had a couple of games to chirp guys, maybe a shot behind the legs, guys start to take numbers, and now you start to see the mental game on the ice.
Mentioned no lineup changes for the Caps. We do have a couple tonight for the Montreal Canadiens. Jaden Struble is out. Arbor Xhekaj is in for his Stanley Cup playoff debut, and no Patrick Laine this evening for Montreal either, as Oliver Kapanen will make his Stanley Cup playoff debut as well. Face-off in the Washington zone. The Capitals win it back, and they'll start out to center ice. Here goes Connor McMichael. 2 goals in game number 2 for Washington, but he's offside here at the Montreal blue line.
I'm not too sure the Capitals realized that was offside. They certainly didn't hear the linesman. Linesman, you can see him from up here as he's pointing and he's trying to bark, but Bell Center, no surprise, is so loud this evening already. Everybody's so excited to be back in. It's hard to believe that it's been this long at the Bell Center since they've had a full building. You go back to the famous Stanley Cup run in 21, but there was only a couple of thousand people in here who were able to celebrate, enjoy that run.
And the last time the Habs scored a playoff goal at home was Josh Anderson in overtime at Game 4 against the Lightning. And about 3,500 people were in attendance for that. As here's Caulfield off the near side, pulls the trigger on a one-timer, and Logan Thompson comes away with a glove save as Trevor Van Riemsdyk gets into it with Juraj Slafkovsky after the whistle.
Well, as soon as Caulfield releases this puck, Slafkovsky's heading towards the net. And as he's heading towards the net, Van Riemsdyk gets his stick up. It's something that we're going to have to get used to seeing all night. There's going to be no problems with that. Everybody, as I mentioned, is all charged up. That first shot on net is a pretty solid save by Thompson with his glove hand.
We're a minute 33 in. The shots are 2-0 Montreal. Arbor Jacki steps onto the ice, and the fans know it. They've been begging to see him in the lineup for the first 2 games. He finally gets in tonight. As Oliver Kapanen gets his first shift into Stanley Cup playoffs, centering a line here with Heineman and Yoel Armia. Washington win this face-off. Back to the line, it goes past Jacki, out to center. Big hit by David Savardi. Brandon Duhaime. Now near side corner, Oliver Kapanen. Up the wing, here's Duhaime going to work for Washington. Comes down low for Jacki. Off the boards to center, Emil Heineman with it. Pressured by Brandon Duhaime, it's picked up by Washington. And here goes John Carlson through center, off the Radish right side. Back across for Nick Dowd. Far side, Dowd drops it off. Chychrun moves it round the boards behind the net. Radish with it. He takes a push from Jacki as the puck is cycled back into the corner. Anthony Beauvillier with Dylan Strome. Up high it comes for Alexander Alexiev. His shot is blocked in front by Savard. And the Canadiens chip it out to center. Habs complete a line change as Alexiev skates in behind the Washington net. Capitals to center. Beauvillier tried to chip it past Carrier. Goes back to Van Riemsdyk. Capitals with it in the neutral zone. Ramped in now by Dylan Strome. Montembeault out to play it. Keeps it moving around for Matheson. Here goes Matheson out through center. Down the left side with a shot. That's absorbed by Thompson as Matheson drives the net. And now he's into a shoving match with Matt Roy. As Caulfield gets thrown into the boards. And Connor McMichael. This could be a chippy one, JP. We're not even 3 minutes in, and we've seen a scrub after almost every whistle.
Well, one thing we've seen as well, I think the Canadiens just got away with one. It was Carrier as he's backing into the top of the slot area, and he knows exactly that Alex Ovechkin is coming behind him, and he backs right into him. Ovechkin ends up going down, kind of slides off into the corner. You can hear the roar of the crowd as they appreciated that play. But I think the Canadiens got away with an interference call there.
So a face-off to the near side on Logan Thompson. Habs moving from right to left here in the first period. As Christian Dvorak is in with his line off the face-off. Gallagher tried a one-timer. It's picked up by Anderson. He'll skate in behind the Washington net. Off to the blue line. Carrier's shot bounces around in front. Never got through. Far side, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Over to Tom Wilson. As Anderson threw a hit on the far side. Here goes Wilson. Into the Montreal zone across. Rasmus Sandin with a shot. That got through. That stuck. Rebound. They score. Connor McMichael in front on Sam Montembeault. Puts it home off a deflection. And the Capitals snag the early 1-0 lead.
Well, that is a real tough pill for the Canadiens to swallow, who had gotten off to a pretty good start. Sandin starts this play off with the blue line. The puck funnels its way all the way into Montembeault, who kicks the rebound out right back onto Roy's stick. And then in turn, McMichael on the back door just gets a stick on it, just a quick redirect, and it's an early 1-0 lead for the Caps.
3:20 into the first period of play. That's going to be Connor McMichael's third of the series. Matt Roy will draw the primary assist on that. And just like that, it is a 1-0 game for the Washington Capitals. Energetic start in this building. We'll see if that takes any wind out of the sails here. As the Habs set up at center ice with Evans off the faceoff. He wins it back. And the Canadiens play it in to the Capital zone. Here's Bongiapane. Throws it around far side for Lars Eller. Back to center. Gooley steps in front of Ryan Leonard. Now still loose in the neutral zone. Demidov works it over to the far side for Evans. Evans throws it wide. Back to the near side for Alex Newhook. Back behind the net. Demidov to the line. Hudson across to Gooley. Back over to Lane Hudson. Switches with Gooley. Left side now. Hudson down low for Evans. Back up top. Hudson over to Gooley. Tries the shot. Never got through. Lane Hudson picks it up near side. Goes back to the blue line. He's chased down by Ryan Leonard. Takes him all the way to the boards. Loose puck though picked up. Demidov passes off. Newhook tried to center. That's broken up and the Capitals skate out to center ice.
Well, the read needs to be there by Newhook. Yes, he's got somebody beaten one-on-one, but if he doesn't get the puck deep, it can come back on you real quickly. Canadians lucky to get away with that.
Canadians control behind their own net. Lane Hudson, 15:30 left in the first period, just underway. 1-0 Washington. Hudson over to Gooley. Out to center, chipped in by Emil Heineman. Far side, Yoel Armia racing after it, picks it up behind the Washington net. To the line, Jack-Eye with a shot, that missed the net. It's picked up by Trevor Van Riemsdyk.
No hesitation at all from Jack-Eye.
To the line again, Jack-Eye throws it across for Savard. Shot blocked by Dowd, and bounces back out to the neutral zone. Jack-Eye again left side. This is played in around the boards, comes over to Suzuki, and his shot to the net is redirected out of play. And now another scrum along the far side. Nick Dowd is getting into the grill of Nick Suzuki there, JP.
He was indeed, and you can see Yoel Armia coming in right afterwards. The big arm comes around the neck. David Savard follows it up. Another push-and match going on here. Jack-Eye getting into it as well, right at the blue line. Definitely a feisty time on the ice. The Caps very happy with the way that they've been able to manage it and find a lead.
It's going to be a long night, feels like, with a lot of chirping back and forth on either side.
That's referee Francis Charon over having a chat to Marty St. Louis early on.
The face-off will be in the neutral zone. Or nope, this will come back rather in the Washington zone, pardon me, to the far side of Logan Thompson. As the Canadians send out Gallagher, Dvorak, and Josh Anderson with Carrier and Matheson at the blue line. Pierre-Luc Dubois, the St. Agathe native, playing in his home province. Take this face-off for Washington. Habs win it back. Here's Carrier from the line. He throws one wide of the net. Over to the near side boards. Gallagher into the corner for Dvorak. Worked over to the side of the net. Caps settle it down. John Carlson will flip it to center. Glove down by Gallagher. Now Dvorak lifts it in over the line up the middle. Here goes Anderson. Backhander hits the outside of the net. Now at the wing, Matheson with his shot. Not in traffic in front. Dubois behind his own net. Here Luc Dubois passes off. John Carlson surveys the ice, stretches to center past the reach of Alexander Ovechkin. No icing though, as the Canadians pick it up in their own zone. Goes Carrier ahead to the neutral zone, chips it in and goes back to change. Rasmus Sandin moves it round the boards, gave it away to Suzuki, then he lost the handle on it. Beauvillier out to center, tried to flip it in, rejected by Gooley. Now played in by Dylan Strome. Gooley goes after it. Now from behind his own net. Off to Juraj Slafkovsky. Snaps it out to center. Suzuki down the far side wing. Bothered by Rasmus Sandin as the puck is played around. Left side, Gooley. Ridden into the boards by Anthony Beauvillier. Now comes loose to the point for Lane Hudson. Left side, Caulfield up the middle. Chance for Slafkovsky. Save made by Logan Thompson. Back to the far side, Slafkovsky. Long range try. Smothered by Sandin. Picked up now by Caulfield. Down low, out in front, Slafkovsky, another look point blank. That's turned aside as well. Far side, one time from Gooley, fanned on it. Gets it again. Over to Hudson, left side, back across. One-timer from Slafkovsky, takes a deflection wide. Now, off the right wing, Caden Gooley chips it behind the net. Good shift for Montreal.
Caps are exhausted.
Nick Suzuki over to Caulfield to the line, and the pass evades Gooley and allows Washington to change. 12:45 left in the first, 1-0 Capitals. Caden Gooley reloads behind his own net. Over to Arbor Jack-Eye. Up to center ice, Jack-Eye clears it in. Now behind the Washington net, Alexiev. Moved around the boards, Savard caught it, but he's offside. And Ryan Leonard getting into it a little bit with Evans. That draws a crowd at center ice.
It's a cheap shot.
And Arbor Jack-Eye, surprise, surprise, is right in the middle of it.
That's Alexiev there with Savard. Savard did not appreciate that play at all. A little chip in the back of the leg by Leonard.
Pretty bold move from the 20-year-old. He's playing his 12th game of the National Hockey League, regular season included tonight. Energetic start to this one, but it's Connor McMichael with the first laugh of the night. We'll see if it'll be the last. His third of the postseason, assisted by Matt Roy and Rasmus Sandin at 3:20 of the first period.
The penalty to Washington, number 9, 2 minutes of sportsmanlike conduct.
And the Habs are going to the power play. We'll get to it when we come back to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All-electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back inside Bell Center, the Montreal Canadiens trail 1-0 with 12:29 to go in the first. But the good news is they are going to the power play presented by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens, with Ryan Leonard taking an ill-advised 2-minute minor for Washington.
Well, it's after the whistle, too, and it's a little chip in the back of the knees. Canadian player goes down. Referee makes that quick call. And I want to come back to Juraj Slafkovsky on that last sequence. You heard him after the second game. There was a lot of frustration in his voice. You can hear that he clearly wants to be a difference maker in this game this evening. And I think what we've seen is him being able to channel the Ottawa game. The first game back after the Four Nations, where he ends up having a goal. He gets into a fight. A game that he was very comfortable with. Very simple game, and I think that's what we saw in the last shift that led to 3 good scoring opportunities.
First power play for Montreal. They are 1 for 4 so far in this series. Of course, no Laine tonight. So Ivan Demidov gets onto the first power play unit as the Habs win the faceoff. Here's Demidov, right side. Now Caulfield, left side. One-timer up top, and Thompson makes the save and hangs on. So, of course, no Laine tonight. As we mentioned, JP, Cole Caulfield slides into his old spot on the left wing, first power play unit.
And he gets a good look early as this pass comes across. No hesitation. Get into it right away. Tries to waste one high on Thompson. And what I like about this power play this evening with Demidov out there, it gives you a bit of a different look. There's an option with Suzuki in the bumper for a one-time opportunity as well.
Canadians win the face-off. Here's Hudson at the blue line. Over to Demidov on the far side. Back up top. Hudson for Caulfield. Back to Hudson. Demidov, far side. Works his way in. Waits. Passes back to Hudson. Caulfield near side. Tries another shot up top. That stopped it quickly. Cleared. 1:26 to go in the power play. So now you've got a righty on the left side of Caulfield and a lefty on the right side in Demidov, instead of having the 2 righties with both Laine and Caulfield on the wings. As here goes Demidov far side. He's in too far ahead offside.
You know, one of the things that coaches always take a look at, especially the guys who are taking care of the power plays, is exactly what you're just talking about there, Victor, is the lefty-righty exchange. And when you have those situations, when you have 2 guys who shoot the same side, you end up running into a dead end, right? As one guy gets the puck, it makes it very easy for him to shoot the puck. But the other guy kind of gets handcuffed a little bit. He doesn't have very many options. And when you get that lefty-righty balance there, it just makes for an easier look, easier ways out for players as looking to be creative.
Neutral zone face-off, win by Washington, as Demidov and Wilson were getting into it a little bit prior to the puck drop. Caps clear it down ice. Here goes Hudson. Skating through center ice. Zips it back off the boards. Not a great pass. It goes to the side of the net for Montembeault. 53 seconds here to go on the penalty to Ryan Leonard. Suzuki down the near side with Slavkovsky, drops it back. Lane Hudson, far side. There's a one-time rip for Demidov. Save made by Logan Thompson. Demidov again off the wing. Can't make anything happen here as the Capitals quickly sweep it out to center ice. Duhaime over the line. Cannot connect on the pass. And now Demidov down the left side into the attacking zone. Peels back off to Caulfield. Through the middle. Caulfield shot. That's fended off by Thompson. Now Gallagher back to the line. Matheson over to Gallagher again. Left hash marks for Caulfield. Matheson up top. Settles down the puck. Caulfield into the bumper off the foot of Gallagher, and it's hammered down the ice by Sandin with just 7 seconds to go in the 5-on-4.
There's so much pace coming off of the wall by that pass to Gallagher into the bumper. Suzuki just not able to handle it.
Leonard steps out of the box as Newhook steps into the Washington zone. He'll turn back to the blue line, angles it off the boards, but it's picked off by Leonard. Goes for a skate down the right side. Ryan Leonard pass Newhook, and Newhook trips him up. Fresh out of the box, Ryan Leonard gets tripped up and then draws a penalty that will send Washington to their first man advantage of the night with 10:13 to go in the first period, and already a 1-0 lead for the Capitals.
Well, it's a solid skill play by Leonard, who we know oozes talent. He just gets
Montreal
this puck,
15, minor penalty tripping.
and it's just a quick shoulder shift. Gets Newhook committed. Takes the puck to the outside, protects it well, just gets his stick tangled up. I'm not sure what the fans are so frustrated about, don't want to see the Canadiens go to the box. I can understand that, but that's about as clear-cut a trip as you'll see.
Habs Penalty Kill is brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time. Capitals are 1 for 3 on the power play thus far in the series.
Now 1 for 2 game 1, 0 for 1 last game.
Face off far side on Montembeault. Into the far corner. Picked up by Tom Wilson. Behind the net now, Alexander Ovechkin. Off the boards to Chychrun. Stepping in right side. Feeds it down low for Dylan Strome. Out in front, wanted Wilson. It goes over to Chychrun. Now up top, Carlson to Chychrun. Down low. Strome centers out in front. Oh, what a big stop from Sam Montembeault. He takes one away from Tom Wilson on the doorstep.
Ovechkin was convinced that was in.
Here's Strome far side. Pass goes back for Ovechkin. Far side wing. Over to Carlson. Back to Ovechkin. Passes down low. Strome, good stick from Matheson. Plays that to the corner, but not out. Down low it goes. Tom Wilson rips it around the boards. To the line, John Carlson. Down low, Chychrun. Sharp angle, can't get that to go on Montembeault. Now Strome. Off the Chychrun. Back to Strome, down low, waits, passes across. Wilson can't fire. The puck goes to Evans, and he'll clear it down the ice.
Couple of impressive defensive plays. Mike Matheson, most importantly.
Oh, here's the forecheck. Anderson off the turnover. He's stopped by Thompson as Anderson stripped Thompson clean behind the Washington net. 37 seconds left in the Washington power play. Rasmus Sandin in his own zone out there with the second unit. It also features Alexander Ovechkin. As here goes Connor McMichael dropping from center to Pierre-Luc Dubois. Off on the far side, McMichael. Back up top for Ovechkin. Far side, Rister deflects wide. Now behind the net. Alex Carrier under pressure. Far corner tied up with Connor McMichael. It comes up the wing for Josh Anderson, and he'll clear it down the ice. That's going to do it for the power play. Capitals are 0 for 1.
Calm decisions. Lots of traffic around him, but calm decisions by Carrier. Settles that puck, clears it.
Capitals roll it to center, down the far side. Here goes Brandon Duhaime with a shot. That's just wide of the net. Around for Matt Roy. Another try, that missed. Now far side corner. McDowd. 7:51 to go in the first period. 1-0 Washington. Dowd, far side. Good battle here with Hudson, who wins it. Gets it out to center. Kicks it down the ice. It's picked up by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Played back around the boards. Taylor Radish now. Up to center ice. Hounded by Cole Caulfield as he plays the puck in. Lane Hudson rips it right back around the boards. And this will go for icing.
Well, as that puck gets ripped around, Hudson was thinking that it was Caulfield who was going to be in that spot, but Caulfield had come all the way back on a hard track, crosses into his own defensive zone, a solid stick lift to just take that play away. It's going to be Lars Eller in on this draw against Nick Suzuki in the Canadiens' defensive zone, just off the Sam Montembeau's blocker side.
So they got Eller with Beauvillier and Leonard here. Full start on the face-off. Second try. Lars Eller wins it to the far side. Here's Chychrun. Off the boards. Skates into the slot. Now hands it off for Beauvillier. Far side. Leonard. Good battle with Lane Hudson. Along the far side boards. Now Beauvillier. Looks for Leonard out in front. That just missed. And Caulfield ends up chipping that off the boards out to center.
That's a sweet pass by Beauvillier, looking for Leonard on the back post.
Matheson in his own zone, off the jack eye. Lays it ahead for Suzuki, up to center ice. Canadiens over the blue line. Have to go back out to center. Joel Armia passes off. Jack eye leaves it in his own zone for Matheson. 6:40 to go in the first. Habs to center ice. Carrier far side, rifles it in. Habs are out shooting the Capitals here 11-5, being outscored 1-0. Far side, here's Joel Armia. Drifting back, passes down low for Heineman. He's followed by Alexiev. Centers the puck. It never got through, though, for his shot. And his captain was on the doorstep. Trevor Van Riemsdyk moves it back behind the net for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Quickly off to Wilson. Van Riemsdyk to center. Off the boards, down the ice. Carrier goes back for it.
Heineman heads off to the bench. 2 solid hits on that shift.
Carrier pressured now by Wilson and Beauvillier, who forces the puck away. As now an errant pass from Wilson will go all the way down the ice for Logan Thompson. And Thompson has been sharp again tonight for Washington. Now 69 saves on 72 shots in this series. Montembeau behind his own net. Passes off far side. Comes up the boards. Here's Rasmus Sandin pinching in. Pressured by Newhook. Rolls into the corner for Hudson. Now back behind the net for Gooley. Caden Gooley. Passes over to Lane Hudson. Connects with Demidov at center. He'll throw it in. Round to the far side. Puck rolls back around the net. Taken by Alex Ovechkin. And he'll pass it ahead through center ice. Picked up by Hudson. He gives it away. Here's Duhaime, far side in the Montreal zone. Passing off for Chychrun. That's broken up by Evans. Now back out to center. Taylor Radish over for John Carlson. Now kicked in off the boards by Chychrun. Arbor Jackeye handles it under pressure from Nick Dowd. Comes up the wing. Carlson with a shot. That's stopped by Montembeau. Rebound, and he makes the save on Dowd, who got one away off the backhand. Canadiens working away far side, goes right over to John Carlson, steps into a drive, that's high off the glass, and rattles around out through center ice.
Holy smoke, can Carlson ever bomb that puck?
87 miles an hour on that last shot. As here go the Habs on the forecheck. That's steered away though by Carlson out to center. 4:16 left now in the first period, 1-0 Washington. Habs work it in behind Logan Thompson. Anderson in on the forecheck. Gallagher gets it away. Rips a pass through. Right off the boards. Back to the line. Here's Carrier. Down the far side. Anderson moves it in behind the net. Gallagher battles with Van Riemsdyk. Puck goes back to the blue line. Here's Matheson looking for the angle off the boards, but it bounces off the net, and the Montreal Canadiens will go back here to pick it up. It's an icing call against Washington.
So let's come back to what we just saw in the Canadiens' defensive zone. If Sam Montembeau has enough time to go back and set that puck up for his defenseman, the defenseman should be able to find a way out of the zone. And what we saw there is the Canadiens fumble that puck. It's just an easy pass out to the slot. It's either that or pass out to the wing. It's one of the two, but the Canadiens fumbled it. They get hemmed back in their zone. The defensemen have to be better clearing pucks out of the zone.
Nick Suzuki, face-off win back for Lane Hudson. Off to Gooley near side. Off the boards, down low. Over to the far corner. Slavkovsky under pressure from Alexiev. Now pulled away by Washington and cleared up to the line. And they're going to say it got out. That's going to be an offside against Montreal. That's going to send us to a break here with 3:29 left in the first period. It's 1-0 Washington on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Looking for an insurance broker, passionate and professional? With 65 years of experience, SO Insurance has proven to be totally dedicated to serving its clients. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, their brokers have one priority: to find you the best offer available to insure your home, car, and all other types of motorized vehicles. Call 833-370-2704 or visit sor.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SO Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
It might not look like it, but spring is on its way. Time to step it up with Point S. As the Habs coach would say, changing your tires is like being in love. You gotta do it right. And guess what? At Point S, we take great care of your tires. Until May 18th, take advantage of our Pirelli promotion and get up to $100 in mail-in rebates when you buy 4 selected Pirelli tires. Stop by in-store or visit point-s.ca to claim your deal. Drive stress-free with Point S, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
At IGA, we help you save with our new Verified Prices promotion. Every week, check the front page of our flyer to discover our offers. Enjoy the lowest prices on selected products or automatically receive the difference in Scene Plus points. It's guaranteed. No proof required at checkout. IGA. Peace of mind is everything. For a limited time at participating stores. Details in the flyer and at IGA.net.
The home of your Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690.
Back in Montreal, 3:29 to go in the first, 1-0 Washington. JP, as the series switches for games 3 and 4 to Montreal, it also switches up the coaching matchup a little bit here in terms of who's able to line match between Martin St. Louis and Spencer Carberry.
Spencer Carberry spoke this morning just after the skate that the Caps had and understood that this was going to be a battle for his team this evening. There was going to be a lot of emotion in the building. But one thing that he also recognized, that he wasn't going to be able to match up the way he did in Washington when he had the luxury of having the last change. I do think that he understands that the Suzuki line is not going to always get Pierre-Luc Dubois, McMichael, and Wilson like they saw in Washington. But I think that he feels he's got enough of a handle and he's got enough depth that he's going to be able to get lines out there who are going to be able to combat Montreal's top end.
Neutral zone face-off win for the Canadiens. Dvorak on the ice with Gallagher and Anderson as they chase the puck into the Washington zone. Rasmus Sandin back to defend. Puck comes over to the near side for Wilson. Played back around the boards for Sandin. Passing off now for Matt Roy. Back to center. Angled in by Connor McMichael. And it goes all the way into the Montreal zone. Far side. Battle ensues. Here's Alex Carrier trying to clear it out to center. Puck is settled down by Chicker and then poked away. Here go the Habs to center. Gallagher with space on the far side with a wrister. And he throws that one wide of the net. Might have gone off the stick of Matt Roy. As the Capitals come ahead to center ice. Dubois' pass ricochets off of Dvorak. Now it's tipped in by Tom Wilson as both teams complete a line change. 2:35 to go in the first. 1-0 Caps, 11-7 the shots from Montreal. Here goes Joel Armia through center ice. In over the blue line to the far side on Chychrun. Skates in behind Thompson. Armia trying to shake off Dylan Strome. Now centers. And the puck goes all the way back to the line. Here's Gooley looking for Armia. That's broken up. And now skated to center by Brandon Duhaime as he'll play it in off the boards. Now Lane Hudson under pressure in the near corner from Beauvillier, who bowled him over. As the Capitals get it back to the point, Van Riemsdyk ends up going across for Alexander Alexiev. And the battle at the side of the net between Beauvillier and Hudson. They both went down. Now Oliver Kapanen skates around deep in the Montreal zone. Off to the near side. Gooley takes a hit from Beauvillier. He's been a menace on this shift. And the Capitals go back to change.
He's been such a versatile player so far for the Caps, moving him in at the top line in place of Protas.
Now they got Radish with Dowd and Mangiapane on the ice. As the Canadiens come down the near side, here's Nick Suzuki with his top line. Left side, Washington zone. Cole Caulfield, sharp move, gets away from Mangiapane with a wrister. Not a good glove save made by Logan Thompson.
There was just no space available for Caulfield at all there. Tried to go short side. Thompson was ready for him.
Thompson perfect through 12 shots now. The Montreal Canadiens, we've got a minute 12 left to go in the first period. We'll take our last break of it on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
When you choose the STM to get to an event, you aren't just riding public transit. You're riding a wave of collective energy with fans just like you all the way to the big event. Heading to the Bell Center? No need to put your whole day on ice. With public transit, you won't have to worry about traffic or parking. A trip to Lucien Lallier or Bonaventure Station gets you right to the heart of the action. Now that's what we call putting it on the tape. With the STM, birds of a feather ride together.
It's time to make some noise and cheer on your favorite team. Because whenever the Canadiens win, you win with the 3 for $3 offer at KFC. A delicious way to savor victory. KFC, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Some conditions apply. Valid the day after Canadiens win. Minimum additional purchase of $1. Offer only valid at participating restaurants. Canadiens Hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back inside the Bell Center. We got a minute 12 to go in the first. Not a lot of time to work with. Habs looking for a way to solve the puzzle here, JP, that is Logan Thompson picking up where he left off in the third period of game 2.
Well, I do think that you have to give defensemen credit in those situations. You know, Cole Caulfield gets the puck, and as soon as he picks it up, first thing he's thinking of is shooting, and defensemen know that, so they're trying to cut lanes down, so it makes it an easier play for Thompson. We see David Savard do it, and something that Sam Montembeault loves, especially on the penalty kill. Savard takes away a portion of the net. He's only got to deal with the other half, and I think what we saw right there is the Caps defenseman starting to back in. Thompson understands that it's probably going to be a short side shot from Caulfield. His glove is ready, makes that save.
So it'll be Newhook here for the face-off with Jake Evans and Ivan Demidov. Pierre-Luc Dubois on the ice for Washington. Loses his face-off. Back to the line it goes Carrier. Rips it off the boards. Down low side of the net. Newhook out in front off the backhand. And Logan Thompson shuts the door again as Matheson from the line floats one wide of the net. Far side. Capitals take it away. McMichael gives it away now. At the line. Carrier scores! Off the turnover, Alex Carrier floats one through for the blue line, and Montreal tie the game at 1 late in the first.
Well, turnovers have punished the Canadiens plenty of times so far this series, and there's one for the Capitals. It's a little bit of a loose play, not a very strong effort as that puck is trying to be cleared. They turn it over. Carrier walks the blue line, drags it to the middle, lets one go. A little bit of traffic in front. Logan Thompson just can't spot it till it's too late. Beats him over his blocker, and it's a 1-1 tie.
Alex Carrier, in his 4th career postseason appearance, the previous 3 with Nashville, has scored his 2nd playoff goal. As here goes Caulfield down the wing, tries a shot on Thompson, makes the save, and took some contact after it.
It sure did. Took a stick to the head.
38 seconds to go in this first period. And we are not finishing it with a whimper tonight.
Well, Brandon Duhaime having a chat to Nick Suzuki right now. Not real happy as Suzuki came by. And I think he was just looking to see if there was something there, but he definitely catches Logan Thompson in the back of the head. Looks like the Canadiens are going to draw a penalty here.
And it looks like it's going to be Nick Suzuki going to the box, JP.
Montreal, number 14, minor penalty for slashing.
They're going to call Suzuki for slashing.
There's no question he caught Logan Thompson in the head. It's a shot down the wing. I love the play by Cole Caulfield. He's not looking to pass. It's late in the period. get a puck on net. He knows he's got Suzuki coming in looking for a rebound. Suzuki's stick is up in the air, and as he brings it down, he catches Logan Thompson in the back of the head. Looks to be okay. He's having a quick drink of water. He's getting his gloves back on, but he's looking down the ice right now at his Capital teammates who are on the power play. 38.2 seconds left to go here in the first.
Suzuki had just 4 minor penalties all regular season long, playing all 82 games. He sits in the box now for 2. Martin St. Louis having a conversation here at the bench with referee Graham Skilleter. And the Washington Capitals are going to the power play. Habs penalty kill presented by Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling. In the heat of the game, control the temperature in any room at any time.
So gets thrown out, and comes Tom Wilson to take this draw against Jake Evans.
And Evans wins it back for Montreal. Matheson to the end boards, shoots it all the way down the ice. Capitals are already 0 for 1 tonight. As John Carlson slowly head to center ice, drops it back. Scooped up by Jacob Chychrun. Handing it off, Dylan Strome. Into the Montreal zone. Wilson bounces it off of Strome. Near side. Chychrun, that's off the stick of Armia. Back out to the neutral zone. Final 10 seconds of the first period. Capitals with it far side. And they're going to run out of time as this is just hammered on Montembeault from center. He catches it clean, and that finishes off the first 20 minutes tonight.
Energy in the building kind of got sapped out a little bit with Connor McMichael as he gets his third, but Alex Carrier late in the period, just under a minute to go, drags that puck to the middle and finds a lane, manages to slide it past Logan Thompson to tie this up.
Hard to imagine either team pulling away for good in this one tonight. 20 minutes through, back and forth period sees the Habs outshoot the Capitals 15-7. Connor McMichael from Matt Roy, Rasmus Sandin, 3:20 into the period. Alex Carrier from Alex Newhook at 19:07 of the first period to tie us up at 1 after 20. Mitch Gallo, JP O'Connor, and the first intermission roundtable is on deck when we return to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Everything Montreal Canadiens, all in one spot. Habs highlights.
Got guy in Middleton, dropping the gloves.
Habs interviews.
We always believe we always want to play hard.
Habs analysis.
They've been competitive. They've shown the will, the fight to be where they are right now.
Habs lunch with Campbell versus Gallo. Weekdays noon to 1 on TSN 690. Also available as a podcast on the free iHeartRadio app.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $70 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell, internet just got better.
Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood Voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee, made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Spring means it's time for a change at Point S. And as the Habs coach would say, it's never too late to upgrade your software. Or in this case, your tires. And this is a good thing because until May 18th, Point S offers you up to $100 in mail-in rebates when you buy 4 selected Pirelli tires. Just visit your Point S garage or go to point-s.ca to claim your offer. Drive stress-free with Point S, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
Hey everyone, Adney and Burke here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune into NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
For over 10 years, Novo has teamed up with thousands of employers to establish high-performance OHS game plans. We excel in our field by providing top-level, comprehensive, and integrated occupational health, safety, well-being, and human resources services. Being part of your success is our greatest motivation and pushes us to innovate every day. Together, we are creating healthy, dedicated, and safe workplaces. Novo is a proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Far side, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Over to Tom Wilson. Anderson threw a hit on the far side. Here goes Wilson. Into the Montreal zone across. Rasmus Sandin with a shot. That got through. That stop. Rebound. They score. Connor McMichael in front on Sam Montembeault. Puts it home off a deflection. And the Capitals snag the early 1-0 lead. Picked up now by Caulfield. Down low. Out in front. Slavkovsky. Another one point blank. That's turned aside as well. Far side. One time from Gooley. Fanned on it. Now up top, Carlson to Chychrun, down low. Strome centers out in front. Oh, what a big stop from Sam Montembeault. He takes one away from Tom Wilson on the doorstep.
Ovechkin was convinced. A couple of impressive defensive plays. Mike Matheson, most importantly.
Oh, here's the forecheck. Anderson off the turnover. He's stopped by Thompson as Anderson stripped Thompson clean behind the Washington net. Far side, Capitals take it away. McMichael gives it away now. At the line, Carrier scores! Off the turnover, Alex Carrier floats one through from the blue line, and Montreal tie the game at 1 late in the first.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey here on TSN 690. I'm Mitch Gallo live at the Bell Center. Game 3, Capitals and Canadiens. After one period of play, it is 1-1. First period scoring summary, 3:20. Connor McMichael from Matt Roy and Rasmus Sandin. And then the goal you just heard, 1907, Alex Carrier from Alex Newhook. So Capitals lead the series 2-0. This one, game number 3, first game at the Bell Center, tied 1-1. I'm Mitch Gallo with Lucas Scott, and we have our color commentator, JP O'Connor, with us. JP, all in all, pretty darn good first period from the Canadiens, and also really entertaining period for everybody here in attendance.
Oh, of course, absolutely. Listen, Mitch, there's no question the building was going to be electric, and Bell Center always delivers on that promise. And everybody coming out in the ice, was jumping off the start, and you could see it after the whistle. Everybody getting into it, and a little bit energetic, and kind of frustrations boiling over, but that's all things to be expected. The key here is that I think the Canadiens were able to control their emotions, and despite the fact that they fell behind, fairly early in the game, they stuck with it. And the key for me, you've been hearing me kind of harp on this since the beginning of the series with the Canadiens, is puck management. And you take a look at some of the numbers here after period number 1, and in that first period, there weren't any real giveaways. At least the ones that I noticed, there was no real giveaways, and the Caps had at least 5 or 6. And when that happens, you tend to see more play in the Capital zone, which isn't something that we've seen a ton of for the Canadiens in this series so far.
I love redemption stories, and maybe a small one in the first period. First period where Alex Carrier giveth. Alex Carrier taketh away.
Yep.
Or maybe the reverse.
That's okay.
Something like that.
I know where you're going with it.
Right?
I know. He tooketh away and he gaveth, right?
Exactly.
That's right. But somewhere English teachers are rolling over in their graves right now.
Yeah, I do it on purpose.
But listen, that play down low is one that the Canadiens have to exploit a little bit more, and there are some mobile defensemen. Maybe not the biggest group back there, but when you're in the offensive zone and you get a puck sent to you along the wall, you see the Canadiens working all the time in practice as they drag the puck to the middle of the ice, and all they're doing is waiting for a little bit of traffic to create net front and then trying to find a lane. It's one thing to find a lane. It's another thing to get the puck to the net. Carrier was able to do both in that instance, and Logan Thompson wasn't able to track that puck through a couple of Canadian skaters skating through the slot area, and it just finds the inside of the right side of the net.
We have two players making their Stanley Cup playoff debuts tonight. What did you think of both Kapanen and Jack Guy?
Well, listen, Jack Guy finds himself in a bit of a tough situation. I think everybody in the building is expecting him to go out and lay big hits and get hands on people and start to intimidate and try either to ramp things up or to settle things down, but all on his terms. I think what Jack Guy has to understand is that there is a balance there. There's going to be a time during this game, no question, where he's going to be called on to do something like that, initiate it potentially, but right now he remembers that job number one is to be a defenseman. If you take a look at his numbers in the first period, didn't play a ton, played just under 5 minutes, but I think the 5 minutes, generally speaking, were effective. They weren't a lot of chances. You heard me talking before the game, Mitch, when we were on the pregame show, and I was saying whether it was Struble or whether it was Jack Guy, there has to be a mission. You have to give yourself something that is attainable. It doesn't have to be a hat trick tonight, but it has to be something attainable. And I think what we saw in the first period is Jack Guy, who was able to control his emotions. So mission accomplished there.
Luca, go ahead.
JP, what did you make of the first power play unit with Ivan Demidov making his debut with that group?
Well, listen, I think Demidov got unlucky with that shot the one-timer that he had. It was a nice feed over from the top from Hudson as usual, just kind of puts it right in your wheelhouse, really lets you lean into it. And Thompson, got to give him credit. His lateral movement in this series so far has been terrific. The difference here, Luca, and I think that we'll probably see it if, in fact, Laine might be out, maybe more than one game. What we'll see is that it becomes a challenge. It's one thing when you get the same shot over and over as you're pushing hard to your right. You get used to it. You understand what that shot looks like coming in. When you have to go back and forth between Cole Caulfield, an elite shooter himself, and then the other option for the Canadiens is Demidov, then it becomes a real challenge. It becomes something where you can kind of get stuck in no man's land, and that's where pucks will slide through.
JP?
Yes, sir.
We'll let you get ready for the second period.
Appreciate
Thank you.
You got it.
There is JP O'Connor, our color commentator here on Montreal Canadiens Hockey on TSN 690. I'm Mitch Gallo, live at the Bell Center. After one period of play, the Washington Capitals and Montreal Canadiens are tied at 1. Montreal, a goal from the stick of Alex Carrier, and Washington's goal from Connor McMichael. Coming up next, we'll get you caught up with the out-of-town scoreboard here on TSN 690.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee, made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's. Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee, made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
Looking to update your home decor? Start with MF Paints. For your kitchen, living room, bathroom, patio, you'll want to paint it all. MF Paints, 100% Canadian-made paints and stains, preferred by professionals and DIYers alike. Available throughout Quebec at your local retailer.
Miss the good old days? Of course you do. Winnie's on Crescent has always been the place to cheer on Montreal's hockey team. Come enjoy pub fare before, during, and after the game. Who knows who you'll see? Winnie's Bar and Restaurant, 1459 Crescent, winniesbar.com.
CKGM AM is TSN 690. Live streaming and on demand on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto through the iHeartRadio Canada app.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. Canadiens and Capitals all tied up at 1. After one period of play, it was a Carrier for Montreal and McMichael scoring for Washington. McMichael having a heck of a series for the Capitals. That's now 3 goals in the series. Out-of-town scoreboard, well, no games currently being played, but just about to get underway in moments. The New Jersey Devils and Carolina Hurricanes, much like the Canadiens, the Devils trail 2-0, but get their first crack at it on home ice. And they get a big boost to their lineup in this one as Jonas Siegenthaler returns from injury, hasn't played since February for the New Jersey Devils, and he will be a big addition to their back end in this series. Much like the Canadiens and Capitals, both teams have received stellar goaltending, but Frederik Andersen with the edge over Jacob Markstrom through 2 games, and the Carolina Hurricanes lead 2-0. Then at 10 o'clock tonight, all eyes on the Edmonton Oilers, who take on the LA Kings. The Oilers have allowed 12 goals in 2 games in this series and lose the first one by 1 goal, but in Game 2 they are blown out by the LA Kings, and with that, the Oilers are going to be making a change in goal. Calvin Pickard will start tonight for the Oilers with their season on the line, but I would expect we see the best out of Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, as you do not want to go down 3-0 to a great team like the LA Kings. Tomorrow on the out-of-town scoreboard, 1 o'clock puck drop between the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. We'll see about the condition of Alexander Barkov, who took a very heavy hit from Hagel in game number 2 played last night, and Hagel could face supplemental discipline from the National Hockey League. All right, that's your out-of-town scoreboard. Coming up next, we will get to the second period of the Caps and Canadiens. Score is all tied up at 1. Victor Finley and JP O'Connor with the call.
Delmar, a globally integrated, technology-focused logistics solution provider, backed by 60 years of expertise. Experience the power of bringing simplicity to your supply chain with Delmar. Visit delmarcargo.com. Delmar, logistics made simple.
$1 wings, $1 wings, $1 wings. Boston Pizza has the ultimate lineup. During every Montreal game this season, our wings are only $1 each at Boston Pizza. Come in for some delicious wings, an ice-cold Molson, and a great game. Now that's a winning trio. Visit bostonpizza.com to find a Boston Pizza near you and reserve your table. Boston Pizza is the place to be. See details in restaurant.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
Looking to update your home decor? Start with MF Paints. For your kitchen, living room, bathroom, patio, you'll want to paint it all. MF Paints, 100% Canadian-made paints and stains. Preferred by professionals and DIYers alike. Available throughout Quebec at your local retailer.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $70 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. We're about a minute away from puck drop in the start of period number 2. Victor Finley with JP O'Connor, the TSN 690 broadcast booth this evening. A lot going on, JP, in the first period. You talked about it tonight ahead of this game. The game within the game, it's where it really starts to pick up in a best-of-7 series when we get to Game 3. And we've seen a lot of storylines throughout this game itself in just 20 minutes of action.
Well, it's been really impressive. And take away the new players, the guys who are kind of just joining this series in Kapanen and Jack-Eye. But you're starting to see also guys starting to get under one another's skin. Brendan Gallagher's a master at it. You can even just look down at the ice right now. David Savar's having a chat to Tom Wilson right in between the referees. It's just one of those things that happens with all these players, hyper-competitive guys doing anything that they can to win. Tempers are going to flare.
Doesn't really seem to matter what junction of the game we're in. There is always something going on, whether that's on the ice, on the benches, between the benches. Eyes covering 200 feet plus worth of ice tonight as we get ready to go from center ice. Washington on the power play for the next minute 20 to begin this second stanza. They will have to start the power play behind their own net. Here is John Carlson to center ice. He'll drop it back. Canadians now moving from left to right on your radio dial as Jacob Chychrun takes the puck in from center ice. Far side, Wilson. Good stick from Mike Matheson. Tries to knock it away for good, but it goes back to the line for Washington. Here's Ovechkin near side. Flings a shot through that almost ricocheted off the boards back in front. As Savard goes down behind the net, there's not going to be a penalty here.
Well, he actually went down with Sam Montembeau's stick, which is still underneath him.
So no stick for Montembeau. As the play comes around for Ovechkin. Far side, Chychrun to the point. Dylan Strome hands off to Carlson. Montembeau has his stick back. Here's Strome down low. Plays off to the far side. Chychrun down low to Strome. Tries a sharp angle shot. Post is sealed off by Montembeau, and Jake Evans will clear it off the backhand through center ice.
Well, you mentioned that Sam Montembeau got his stick back. It was actually David Savard who picked it up, got it back in his hands.
10 seconds left of the power play. Here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois, far wing. Drops it back into the slot. Mangiapane with a wrister. That stopped. Rebound to the far side. Here's Dubois down low. Power play is over. Nick Suzuki's out of the box as Sandin gives it away at center. Here goes Evans up the middle with a wrister. Glove save made by Thompson as the Canadians stay with it. At the line, Gooley lays it down low for Nick Suzuki. Back up high, Gooley off the far side. Rolls it round the boards. Anderson near side. Back down low, Connor McMichael flips this one ahead to center ice. Bouncing around, Dvorak can't settle it down. Connor McMichael brings it in far side. Turns around, Mangiapane up the middle. His shot rattles off of Alex Carrier. Now far side, Canadians cannot clear. It's just taken away by McMichael into the slot. Handing off now to Rasmus Sandin. Over to Matt Roy with a shot. Montembeau was turned around at his crease and somehow that stayed out. It looks like it hit Christian Dvorak up high.
Dvorak slow to get back to the bench.
Gingerly back to the Montreal bench as the Capitals are in their own zone. There's a hard hit on Nick Dowd. Far side wing from Anderson. Off the turnover. Low shot from Brendan Gallagher is shoveled aside. And the puck comes loose out through center ice. Jack-Eye hurrying back for it. 17:21 to go in the second period. Canadians up to center. Nick Suzuki passing off back and forth with Lane Hudson into Washington territory. Lane Hudson down low. Tried to center it. That's picked off by Alexander Alexiev. Up to center ice. Taylor Radish passes off to Nick Dowd, who chips it in. 3 minutes into the first, or rather check that, 3 minutes into the second. We are still tied at 1. As here goes Cole Caulfield to center. Skating in right side with a wrister. And that deflected off of Chychrun wide of the net. Far side, Matheson tries a shot. That doesn't get through. Comes over for Anthony Beauvillier. Off the boards ahead for Dylan Strome. Couldn't settle it down. Here's Nick Suzuki. Turns it down low. He collides with Beauvillier. Strome takes it away and passes out through center ice. Now swatted in by Van Riemsdyk, and both teams will change. Here come the Canadians up to center. Alex Carrier down the right side. Carries in, sharp angle shot. There was a whiff from Logan Thompson with the glove, but the shot went wide.
Boy, he just waved at that puck.
Now Jake Evans back off the near side. And he's driven into the boards by Tom Wilson, who then gets upended. He's slow to his feet.
Demidov came in behind him. This is leg trailing, and Wilson goes down to the ice.
And the Capitals have iced the puck here. 3:59 into the second.
Tom Wilson sliding by the referee just to mention that he felt like that was a bit of a weak play.
Tom Wilson, JP, is a Toronto man. But as I found out this morning, his dad, Kevin, comes from Montreal, grew up a diehard Habs fan watching this team win 11 Stanley Cups.
Incredible to think about guys of a certain age that have seen all those cups in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Just an incredible time to be a Canadiens fan. And plenty of dads in the stands this evening. Beauvillier's dad is here as well. Sylvain.
Capitals win the faceoff in their own zone. Carlson plays it ahead for Wilson. He'll dump it in. I was told today Tom Wilson's favorite Canadian player growing up was Michael Ryder. As here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois with a hard hit in the far side corner. Just taken away by Montreal. Josh Anderson up to center ice. Carries in far side. It's angled off the boards. Rasmus Sandin picks it up behind his own net. Plays it over to the far side. Matt Roy wrestles it away. Moves it up the far wing for Pierre-Luc Dubois. Now out to center, corralled by Ryan Leonard. Weaves in over the Montreal line. Leonard with a wrister. Pad save made by Montembeault. Back out into the slot. One-timer from Lars Eller is blocked. He's got it again left side. Eller looked to pass that across. Good stick from Gooley. Another shot from the line. That's turned aside before it got through to the net. And Brendan Gallagher chops it out through center ice.
Every single shift that we see Ryan Leonard out there, he just seems to be gaining in confidence.
Now here's Gallagher, far side. He touches it offside. You're going to say here with 15:01 to go in the second period, a 1-1 top.
This is going to come all the way back into the Canadian zone as well. This is Heineman at the blue line as that puck is coming. He's trying to keep it in, but it just comes out. Brendan Gallagher recognizes that instead, just rather than coming back out and touching up, goes and touches that puck and all the way back down in the half zone. Nick Suzuki's line will be coming out. Cole Caulfield and Slavkovsky take their positions. Carrier is going to be on the right side alongside Gooley. Keep an eye on this. Alex Ovechkin setting up for the quick one-time.
And the Canadiens loading up on the near side. Off the face-off, they win it. Gooley cannot get the puck out. Here is Strome off to the far side. Sharp angle shot for Beauvillier, rocketed wide of the net. And comes all the way around for John Carlson. Back to center. Carlson with it, flips it ahead. He gives it away to Suzuki. Far side, Suzuki shot. Stop made by Logan Thompson. As it comes back in behind the net for Jacob Chikrin. Capitals cannot clear it out. Slavkovsky up high, and he's run into by Ryan Strome. Took that Dylan Strome as the Capitals settle it down behind their own net. Back to center ice. This is tipped in by Beauvillier. And the Canadiens pick it up in their own zone. Gooley ahead for Suzuki. Caulfield in from center ice. Logan Thompson stops it behind the net. Van Riemsdyk passes over. And the Capitals almost give it away up the middle. Here's Armia now down the right side. Good stick from Van Riemsdyk in the corner. Goes back towards Savard. That's chipped out to center by Radish. Now Brandon Duhaime, good play by Jacky. Right into the boards, he goes to Duhaime. Far side though, Washington with it. Hard shot off the outside of the net, gets caught in the base of the net. And that's going to draw the stoppage here off that one-timer from Alexander Alexiev. 13:44 remaining in the second period. We got a tie game here. 1 goal apiece in Montreal on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Are you looking for a damage insurance broker that specializes in commercial insurance? There is only one name, Essor Insurance. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, Essor Insurance brokers are the perfect advisors for you. With more than 65 years experience, Essor Insurance is proud of its team of brokers who stand out for their ability to select the best products for your business. Call 833-370-2704 or visit essor.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. Essor Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech. Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood Voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
Simplify the optimization of your supply chain with Delmar. For almost 60 years, Delmar has provided integrated solutions with innovative technologies, transforming logistics challenges into effortless experiences. Visit delmarcargo.com to connect with an expert. Delmar, logistics made simple.
The home of your Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690.
13:44 to go in the second period between Montreal and Washington. Tie game. JP, the Canadiens have had some good chances here. Logan Thompson again strong tonight. He's had to make a couple big saves off of turnovers from the Capitals in their own zone.
Well, it must be driving head coach Spencer Carberry crazy, because one thing that no coach likes is when you compound the errors. If you're going to make a mistake, that's fine. It's going to happen. Guys are going to bail you out. But when you keep making the same mistake, or you can't get it out on multiple occasions, that's when it's always going to hurt you. And if it's not for Logan Thompson, especially on that last shot that we saw from Nick Suzuki with the great blocker save, this is a 2-1 game.
Face off to the far side on Sam Montembeault. Pierre-Luc Dubois in to take it for Washington. He wins it away from Christian Dvorak. Dubois drives the net, and he's taken out by Dvorak. And the loose puck is picked up by Connor McMichael, trying to shake off Matheson. Couldn't carry it out in front. Centering feed from Dubois is blocked, and Anderson goes out to center with it. Now picked up by Dvorak. Far side, Gallagher with a one-timer. That's fought off, and it trickles just wide of the net from Thompson. He's hurting after that. Thompson keeled over in the Washington crease as the Capitals start to head to center ice.
Referee asking him if he needs a break.
Here goes McMichael off on the far side. Pass doesn't connect. Dvorak out to center, fumbled it. And now Matheson up the far wing. Matheson with a shot up high. And Thompson makes the shoulder save. Matheson near side. Dumps it in down low off the boards. Wilson picks it up and curls it around for Matt Roy. And this crowd is all over Logan Thompson right now with 12:44 to go in the second. Here's Demidov. In over the line. No hook. Off the right side. Shot goes astray off the stick of Matt Roy. Capitals back to center. Sandin rolls it in, pushed to the boards by Evans. And they're going to say this is not icing. As a crafty move from Lane Hutson, starts to break out to center. Here goes Newhook. Far side turns around and then spins the puck down low. Demidov behind the net, trying to shake off Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk ties him up. Jake Evans swoops in to take control in the corner. Van Riemsdyk gets it back out, and he'll pass ahead to center. Alexiev down the far side, and Ryan Leonard runs into the linesman. And he's not happy about it. As a loose puck at center is tipped in. Fundraise for it, and Gouley's going to get to it first. They're going to call this back anyways with 11:47 to go in the second. That was quite a collision there with Leonard and lies with Chandler Alfonso, and Logan Thompson might still be feeling the effects of that Gallagher shot, JP.
Yeah, there's no question about it, as that was a one-time bomb, and Gallagher's trying to go short side. Thompson pushes over to the right post, and it ends up catching him in the shoulder area. It actually rolls up and then down his back just past the near side post. But no question that stung. Not as much as Leonard running into Chandler Alfonso, though. That's not who you're expecting to run into the ice.
Nobody is safe down there tonight as the Montreal Canadiens go back to their own zone. Here's Yoel Armia up the near side. Passing through center for Emil Heinemann. Can't cross in over the line. Puck goes back for David Savard. He'll wrist it in. He took a hit from Duhaime. And the referee's arm is in the air. And it looks like the Canadiens are going back to the power play.
Well, there should be an elbowing call on Duhaime, no question. Duhaime's arguing this right now as David Savard is trying to get to the red line. It's always the same case. It's a race. Can you get to the red line and get that puck in? Duhaime knows that he can meet him there. Duhaime just comes in a little bit high with his elbow.
Washington penalty 22. Minor penalty, illegal check to the head.
So an illegal check to the head against Brandon Duhaime. And the Canadiens go to the power play for the second time tonight. They are 0 for 1 with this power play presented by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Shots 20-10 for Montreal. Game tied at 1 with 11:27 to go. And there has never been a better chance for Montreal to take the lead than right now.
They do need the power play to start to convert on a more frequent basis. Caps would love to play this game all night at 5-on-5. They've had terrific success over the course of the year, scored 5-on-5 goals, but if they're going to insist on going to the power play, then there's another weapon out there this evening, Ivan Demidov, who had a good look on that first power play, a one-timer that Logan Thompson made a terrific save on in the near post.
Off the near side in the Washington zone, Suzuki lines up for the face-off. Capitals win it back for Carlson, left it, scores! Nick Suzuki! Just 3 seconds into the power play. Montreal pull ahead 2-1.
Unusual play off the draw, and sometimes you just have to keep battling your way through. Slavkovsky goes hard on it, but it never really seems to settle. Puck just won't sit down, and it bounces off of Carlson's stick right out to Suzuki. Makes no mistake. Bit of an awkward play on the backhand, but he's able to lift it the short side and beat Thompson over his blocker.
Suzuki scored the game tire in game 1. And now he's got the go-ahead goal nearly halfway through game number 3. His second of the playoffs after 30 in the regular season. And now 15 playoff goals. Check that, 13 playoff goals in 35 Stanley Cup playoff games for the Montreal Canadiens. So Montreal lead for the first time tonight. 11-19 remains in the second period. Canadiens back to their own zone. Sam Montembeault rips it around to the far side. Habs in their own zone. Anderson takes a knock from Wilson. Here goes Carrier to center. He'll flip it in. Chychrun back behind the net. Works it up the near side for McMichael. From the line, Dvorak swings it down low. Carlson, side of the net, collects it, stretches out to center, hits Pierre-Luc Dubois with a feed. He'll drop it off. McMichael out in front. That's tipped wide of the net by Wilson. This goes all the way out of play.
Well, it's a tic-tac-toe play. Here we go again. Dvorak on McMichael.
And Chychrun getting into it at center ice. Gallagher and Wilson are tied up. .42 to go in the second period. 2-1 Montreal.
Well, we've seen that tic-tac-toe play from the Caps. Last game, you saw Strome. He was the toe in the tic-tac play that he ends up finishing off in front of Montembeault. And that was another one, a crossing pattern just inside the Canadian zone. Sees that puck fed in, gets deflected up into the netting. But terrific puck movement by the Caps.
Face-off due in the Montreal zone. Suzuki in the top line will head onto the ice. It looks like it's going to be Suzuki unassisted at 8:37 off that face-off on the power play. He's 3 seconds into it.
Unfortunate there for John Carlson as that puck squirts off the stick.
Caps win the face-off from the line. Matt Roy plays it down low, side of the net. Carrier in a battle for it with Beauvillier. Anthony Beauvillier strips it away. Angles back to the line. Roy to Beauvillier. Banks it off the boards to Dylan Strome. Back through the middle. Wanted Beauvillier. It's broken up. Here goes Caulfield. Down the near side. Floats one in. Blocker to side by Thompson. Wrapped around the boards. Far side. Poked over by Matt Roy. Far wing. Strome passing off to Rasmus Sandin through center with a wrister. That's steered aside by Montembeault. Now behind the net, Anthony Beauvillier wanted to center that for Strome. That's picked off. Here goes Caulfield to center. Drifting in, far side wing, drops it back. Slavkovsky shot up top on Thompson. Made the save. It looks like he's popped a strap here.
He really had to fight that puck off.
Puck goes back out to center. Thompson trying to fix his mask as the puck gets ramped back in. And the Capitals moving around the boards. Almost too many men as Jackeye knocks over Lars Eller. Far side, Jack-Eye under pressure. Puck is taken away by Eller off the far side. Now Mangiapane trying to slip past Jake Evans. Passes over. Here's Chychrun. Hard shot and he scores! Jacob Chychrun with a howitzer off the near side at nearly 90 miles an hour has tied this game back up at 2.
Just a cannon from Chychrun, and it starts down below the Canadiens' goal line. Jake Evans is at battle in the corner, and that puck gets fed out to Chychrun, and it's just pace. He just hammers this puck. Short side, Sam Montembeault sees it the whole way in. He just can't get his blocker on it in time.
20 goals in the regular season for Chychrun. Third amongst NHL defensemen. And he could score them in all different kinds of ways.
Came so close in the game on Wednesday, rung it off the post in the first period.
Sometimes you see him jump up in the rush. This time he gets space off the point. Steps in and just hammers that one past Montembeault.
Having a chat to the referees right now. I think St. Louis was taking a quick look at that one, but this is going to stand. No issues here with this shot.
So we got 9:13 now to go in the second period. We are tied at 2.
That's just the Caps' 12th shot on the evening.
I got a feeling this one's going to go back and forth all night long, JP.
I think he got that one in one.
Center ice face-off. It's won back by Nick Dow. Capitals in their own zone. Here is Chychrun. Plays it off the boards. Tipped in by Dow. Racing after it behind the Montreal net. Played over to the far side. Taylor Radish gets over to it. Run into by Mike Matheson. Radish passes off. That evades the blade of Brandon Duhaime and goes all the way back down the ice. Chychrun to the end boards with Oliver Kapanen now behind the net. Down to the near side with Heineman.
Heineman's lost his stick here.
John Carlson elevates it down the ice through center. Carrier tied up in the near corner with Duhaime. Comes out in front. Alexiev with a chance. Pad save made by Montembeault. And the Canadiens clear it to the far side, out to center ice. Newhook gets dumped by Brandon Duhaime. That's going to get called. And the Montreal Canadiens are going back to the power play.
On the interference.
So Duhaime to the box. Montreal already 1 for 2 this evening. Nick Suzuki with the latest power play goal.
Only took 3 seconds last time.
Will step aside. Montreal to the man advantage. We return to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
We all have the same goal, to be environmentally responsible. That's why Rio Tinto and the Montreal Canadiens are teaming up. We're replacing 1.5 million single-use plastic cups at the Bell Center with cups made with infinitely recyclable aluminum from Quebec. And the low-carbon aluminum we use for the cups is made by Rio Tinto right here in Quebec. It's a sustainability slapshot. To learn more, go to riotinto.com.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. The Montreal Canadiens are going to the power play, presented by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. But JP, we got a goaltender change, and it's not for Washington. Jakub Dobiš is on the ice in the Montreal net.
Yeah, you know, I wonder if we talked about David Savard getting tangled up with Dobiš. I wonder if, with Montembeault, and I wonder if it was maybe when he got turned around, he lost his stick that he got hurt.
So Jakub Dobiš, yet another Montreal Canadien who makes their Stanley Cup playoff debut in this series, along with Jack-Eye and Kapanen tonight, as we line up in the Washington zone. Habs to the power play. Suzuki on the ice with Demidov, Slavkovsky, Caulfield, and Lane Hudson. 8:21 to go in the second. This game is tied at 2. Habs win the faceoff. Here's Hudson at the blue line. Demidov, one-timer for Nick Suzuki right into the breadbasket of Logan Thompson.
Now, not a lot of pace on that shot, but that's a more difficult save for Thompson than it looks. As that puck gets bumped into Suzuki, it's kind of tumbling, and it lies flat on his stick. Suzuki swats at it, and that puck is tumbling as it gets into Logan Thompson.
For what it's worth, no Montembeault on the bench. He's gone right down the tunnel to the Montreal locker room. Battle off the face-off. Canadians control it. Here's Lane Hudson at the blue line. Far side, Caulfield back out in front, wanted Slavkovsky. Couldn't get it through. And back to the near side it comes. Fired off the boards by Nick Dowd. All the way down the ice for Cole Caulfield. Still a minute 31 to go on the power play.
Yeah, that's just a glorious opportunity as Caulfield zips that puck to the back post, and Slavkovsky's in position, just can't get a stick on it.
Here goes Suzuki off the drop through center. Off to Caulfield. Good stick from Connor McMichael. Forces it back out to center. Now far side. Here goes Demidov down the wing. Moves to the inside on Carlson. Almost went upstairs on Thompson. Slavkovsky back to the line. Hudson back over to Slavkovsky right wing. Now Lane Hudson moving in. Slavkovsky right side with a shot blocker save made by Thompson. Back around for Hudson at the blue line. Demidov right side, tried to pass it through. Handles into the slot, far side, one-timer, that stuff. Goes in front, Demidov, puts it off the outside of the net. And Washington clear it down the ice with 40 seconds to go in the 5-on-4.
The vision of Demidov in the high slot as he pulls everybody towards him and then slides it off to Caulfield, who just fans on that shot, but the vision is very impressive.
Here's Lane Hudson weaving over the blue line, off to Gallagher right side, steps in with a shot off the stick of Sandin and wide. Stays in play, far wing for Suzuki. From the hash marks, Suzuki back to the blue line. Here's Lane Hudson with it. Walks across, 11 seconds on the power play. Heineman right side. Back up top. Lane Hudson with a wrister, and he flings that wide of the net. Back around for Heineman, off the boards, down low. Far side, Suzuki. Power play's over, 5-on-5 again. Brandon Duhaime out of the box. Foot race for it here down the ice with Matheson. They go to the end boards. Duhaime picks it up, passes off. Dylan Strome can't get a shot away. He's bothered by Alex Carrier. Strome up the far wing. This is picked up by Dvorak. Canadians sprint out to center ice. Alex Newhook down the near side wing. In on Chikrin. Throws it in front of the net. That takes a deflection high. Far side Strome. Through for Jacob Chikrin. 5:49 to go in the second period. A 2-2 tie. Here goes Pierre-Luc Dubois. Hands off to Chikrin. Side of the net. That's an easy cover for Jakub Dobish. That will not count. Is the first shot that he's faced tonight. 5:40 left in the second period. We still got a tie game here at 2 on Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite pho shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Export. Ultra. XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Hey everyone, Adnan and Burke here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch this movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. 5:40 to go in the second. 2-2 tie. 21,000 plus on hand tonight, including JP, the Laval Rocket, who are in the house.
Yeah, they are indeed. The Rocket getting a chance to watch the Montreal Canadiens this evening. They're just waiting to see what happens for their playoffs to start. Toronto and Cleveland will be playing. Laval will get the winner, but it's kind of ironic, isn't it? Unfortunate to see Sam Montembeault leave the game. Jakub Dobesh comes in. Laval Rocket are actually watching. Caden Primo might be taking a look at his phone right now saying, hey, we might need you downstairs in a few minutes. Chop, chop.
Montreal back in their own zone. Quick face-off win. Almost went right to Ovechkin. This is flipped out to center ice by the Canadiens. All the way down it goes for Rasmus Sandin. Pursued behind the net. He's flattened into the boards by Josh Anderson. In the meantime, Beauvillier works it ahead to center. Canadiens pick it up. Here's Matheson under pressure. Evades a hit from Ovechkin, but it's turned over. Is Strome. Looks to pass it over. That's broken up. It deflected off of Carrier. And out it comes through center ice. Matt Roy picks it up. He'll toss it around the boards. Far side, Leonard. And zips this through center ice. Carrier, near side boards, battling with Beauvillier. Puck comes loose, back to the Washington zone. Guided over to Sandin by Roy. Rasmus Sandin dives in behind his own net. Angles it off to Roy. Far side corner, Sandin takes a hit from Jake Evans. Almost turned over as Eller recovers, but again the Montreal Canadiens work the forecheck, get it back to the line. Savard moves it down low, bounces right over to Roy. Slips it back over for Rasmus Sandin off the boards. Chopped out to center. Here goes Ryan Leonard skating into the Montreal zone. He'll move it around far side. All the way to the left hash marks in the Montreal zone. Back behind the net now. Jack-Eye with 4:13 to go in the second. Can't get it out. Comes back down low for David Savard. Near side boards now. Newhook takes a hard hit from Nick Dowd as the puck gets jarred loose for Alexander Alexiev. Played off the glass to center. Moved back in by Savard. Picked up by Alexiev. Now up ice for Dowd. Rifles in a wrister. And the stick disintegrates off the far side for Taylor Radish. Montreal work it back to the neutral zone, and the Caps shoot it right back in. 3:35 left in the second. Tied at 2. David Savard walks it to center. Now off to Nick Suzuki right side. Throws one wide of the net. Loose deep in the Washington zone. Now dragged ahead to center by Tom Wilson. He'll flip it in. Dubois into the corner with Carrier. Comes out far side for Slavkovsky. Give it away. Out in front, Wilson passes it right to Nick Suzuki. And here go the Canadiens away to center. Far side, Slavkovsky lost the handle on it. And it's flipped back through center ice all the way down for icing against the Washington Capitals.
Carrier back to collect that puck, and we didn't get a chance to talk about the play that he made earlier after Mike Matheson mishandles it, turns it over, and one thing that you know about Carrier, above the block shots, above the calmness there, is he's able just to settle the side down. His positioning this evening on the inside of the ice has been terrific, whether that's battling net front with Alex Ovechkin or just making the simple plays. Alex Carrier has been very strong for the Habs back end this evening.
Face-off win in the Washington zone for the Capitals as they move it around the far boards. Cannot get it out of the zone. Kapanen passes off. Heineman far wing. From the corner. Works it around to the near side. Hudson pinching in. Off the glass. Out past Yoel Armia through center ice. Now Caden Goulet swings back in behind his own net. Capitals complete a line change. As here goes Yoel Armia down the right side. Plays it in. Matt Roy back behind his own net, wraps it around the board. That's cut off by Hudson. Hudson in the corner, crafty move, and throws it off the end boards. It goes right to Logan Thompson, who covers it up.
There you see Hudson at his best as he jumps in, he intercepts that play. He's not going to physically overpower you, but he uses his pace to get in, shut down the winger, steal the puck, and then he takes you one-on-one immediately. He puts the defenders on their heels, and I like the play as well. He's not going to get a good shot on net, rather chips it behind, gets a bit of a fortunate bounce, but Logan Thompson has to make the cover, gets the whistle. The Canadiens can get something going here with 2:21 left in the second.
Face off to the glove hand side of Logan Thompson, who catches right-handed. It'll be Christian Dvorak with Gallagher and Anderson. Hudson and Gooley line up at the blue line. Capitals win the face-off back right to Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Off the boards, out to center. This is played in by Brandon Duhaime. And chopped back to center ice by Gooley. Corralled by Gallagher. Here goes Dvorak, up the middle, flings a shot way high. That deflected off the stick of Roy, who gets into it now behind the net with both Anderson and Dvorak. That'll draw a crowd. Looks like Josh Anderson took some lumber up high.
He did indeed, he's checking his mouth.
Cross-checks have been a hot topic of this series.
Roy looked a little bit out of sorts. Radish has still got Dvorak tied up.
And Josh Anderson here is trying to present some evidence.
Trying to be his best lawyer.
I don't know if he's bleeding, but he was trying to sell it. Will not get the call here with 2:03 to go in the second period. We stay tied at 2.
You got to figure.
Oh, there is some blood there on his lip.
Yeah, it's probably him biting it. Referees are used to seeing those bite marks, right? That cut suspiciously resembles your teeth, sir.
7 hits tonight for Josh Anderson, who has been a wrecking ball. The Montreal Canadiens are out hitting the Capitals tonight 33-17.
Yeah, a lot of that is Anderson. But you know, when you come in with that pace, that Anderson, he puts everybody on alert with his pace, but it does allow other players to get in there too and pick up the scraps. We've seen the Canadiens win 50-50 pucks this evening, something we haven't seen too much of in the first 2 games. Just chipping the space and winning those battles.
Face-off win for Washington behind their own net. Chychrun with Newhook, Evans, and Demidov on the ice for Montreal. The puck comes to center. It's played in off the boards by Washington. Matheson in behind his own net. Shoved off the puck by Taylor Radish. Tenacious here on the forecheck as it goes over to the far side. Newhook picks it off. And then almost gave it away to Dowd in the corner. He does have it now, and he'll play it around to the near side. Open wing. Evans moves it back. Puck bouncing around in front. Habs having a hard time here with Washington's forecheck. McMichael picks it up. Scoops it back to the blue line. Jacob Chychrun passes to the far side. John Carlson down the wing for Wilson. Right back across. No one home. And it goes back for Chychrun. Now Tom Wilson. Wrister right off the leg of Carrier. And now chopped by Matheson out through center ice with 1:10 to go. Wilson back to the neutral zone, fires it in. Puck rides around the boards over to Caden Gooley. For Hudson, keeps it moving around out to center ice. Chychrun passes it off. Van Riemsdyk off the boards down the ice. This is tipped, no icing. Lane Hudson picks it up. Still 45 seconds to work with here in the second period. Hudson up the far side. Slavkovsky flings one over to the near corner. Suzuki back to the line. Hudson across for Gooley. Shot tipped in front just wide. Now Van Riemsdyk under pressure. Defers to the far side for Matt Roy. He'll play it out to center. Glove down by Alex Ovechkin. Shoots it right in on Dobish, who hasn't really been tested at all since coming in place of Sam Montembeault. Here goes Suzuki down the right side. Stepping in with a shot. That was destined wide of the net, but kicked aside anyways by Thompson. As it's given away. Hudson up front. Scores! Off another turnover. This time it's Cole Caulfield. Off the feed from Hudson, and Montreal regained the lead. 3-2.
Victor, we just talked about Hudson doing just that a few moments ago. He uses his pace to jump in front of Alex Ovechkin, who got caught puck watching. Everybody's back on their heels. Hudson takes a quick look He knows that Caulfield's going to be sliding in on that back post. He's ready, and he buries it.
So Hudson to Caulfield, who cashes in for his second of the postseason. And the Canadiens are back in front by 1. Just 8 seconds to go in the period. Off the face-off from center. It's flung in wide of the Washington net. Matt Roy lifts it back to center. And we are going to the third period with the Habs in the driver's seat, up 3-2.
Canadiens goal, his second of the playoffs, scored by number 13, Cole Caulfield.
So as the players head off the ice, we got a scrum here in front of the Washington bench, JP. The Capitals were not allowing Jakub Dobeš to get through the crowd, and here goes Wilson. Far side with Anderson. It spills into the Capital bench. Anderson and Wilson wrestling right along the Washington Capital bench. And everybody has a hold of somebody as Wilson and Anderson go down. This is old school hockey, as now Dubois gets into it with Goulet. Now Dvorak in the middle. This is a giant scrum. I don't know if we got enough officials here, JP, to break this up tonight.
Well, ordinarily you got 3 on the ice, but now you've only got 2, as Anderson is actually just leaving the Caps bench right now.
And Anderson still wants a piece of somebody. Jack Guy just threw his glove into the Washington bench. And the Washington Capitals coaching staff got a front row seat to a Royal Rumble between Josh Anderson and Tom Wilson. And it started with Jack Guy and Wilson. They got separated, and then Josh Anderson fell through the open door and was followed in by Wilson and linesman Kyle Flemington.
Kyle Flemington couldn't believe what was going on as he's tap dancing down there in the middle of both, just kind of along for the ride. Spencer Carberry, head coach for the Washington Capitals, ducking sticks.
That's playoff hockey. Let's go. This crowd is into it. The Habs are into it. No place is safe tonight, on the ice or off of it. The Capitals and Canadiens, nose to nose, and finally broken up here at center ice, as the Capitals will go down the tunnel, as will the Montreal Canadiens, and who knows what we are in store for in the third period tonight. There's certainly going to be penalties out of this, and we might get an announcement here as referee Francis Chiron goes over to the scorer's table. We might need to sort this out first.
I think that's what's going to happen here, Victor. I'm sure it'll be relayed down to the players, relayed down to the teams. It's going to take a little time to sort this one out.
So until the officials clear off the ice here, the Zamboni can't get on it. So watch the Capitals coaching staff making their way across. Wow, what a finish to the second period of play. It is a 3-2 lead for the Montreal Canadiens. Cole Caulfield scores his second to the playoffs, assisted by Lane Hudson at 1951. Jacob Chikrin and Nick Suzuki, the other 2 goals in the second period, that sees the Montreal Canadiens take a 3-2 lead after 40. Second intermission roundtable is coming your way next when we return to Habs Hockey on PSN 690.
The Morning Show with Connor McKenna and Sean Starr. It has everything you need, from Starr's eternal optimism to McKenna's unbridled honesty. Don't miss the 3-star quiz at 7:30 and the very best hockey insiders, including RDS's Mark Denis.
And then he wasn't being shy. He was shooting the puck. And by shooting the puck, sometimes he actually helped out.
Wake up with a Morning Show with McKenna and Starr. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on TSN 690.
The biggest Latin music festival in Canada is back. Fuego Fuego. May 24th and 25th at Montreal's Olympic Park. Don't miss reggaeton legend Nicky Jam, Mexico's superstar Peso Pluma, El Alfa's final show in Canada, Puerto Rico's icon Wisin, Venezuela's rising star Danny Ocean, and many more. Join the fiesta and heat up your summer with 2 days of non-stop Latin music, the best international food, and Montreal's unbeatable vibes. Tickets on sale now at festivalfuegofuego.com.
The best rotisserie chicken is slow roasted with love at Saint-Hubert. This spring, enjoy our locally sourced chicken in 1,001 ways with one of our 3 sauces, including the brand new spicy Asian sauce. Try our new rotisserie items, such as the tikka masala quarter leg and rib combo, or our Saint-Hubert bowl topped with rotisserie chicken breast. Whatever you're in the mood for, our tasty locally sourced chicken will satisfy everyone's tastes. Discover our new products for a limited time. Details at saintshubert.com.
Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us. When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
Ah, spring. Ready to start your spring organizing? Create space in your garage, closets, and basement with Depodium Mini Entrepot. Try 4 weeks free. Details at Depodium.com. Buy Canadian, store Canadian.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech.
When things start heating up on the ice, count on Mitsubishi Electric Heating and Cooling to keep the temperature comfortable in every zone of your home.
Mitsubishi Electric, official heating and cooling partner of the Montreal Canadiens and your partner in home comfort since 1987.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Centering feed from Dubois is blocked, and Anderson goes out to center with it. Now picked up by Dvorak. Far side, Gallagher with a one-timer. That's spun off, and it trickles just wide of the net for Thompson. He's hurting after that. Off the near side in the Washington zone, Suzuki lines up for the face-off. Capitals win it back for Carlson. Lost it. Scores! Nick Suzuki! Just 3 seconds into the power play. Montreal pull ahead 2-1. Puck is taken away by Eller off the far side. Now Mangiapane trying to slip past Jake Evans. Passes over. Here's Chychrun. Hard shot and he scores. Jacob Chychrun with a howitzer off the near side at nearly 90 miles an hour has tied this game back up at 2. Slavkovsky right side with a shot blocker save made by Thompson. Back around for Hudson at the blue line. Demidov right side, tried to pass it through. Handles into the slot, far side, one-timer, that stop. Loose it for Demidov, puts it off the outside of the net. And Washington clear it down the ice with 40 seconds to go in the 5-on-4. That was destined wide of the net, but kicked aside anyways by Thompson. As it's given away, Hudson up front, off another turnover. This time it's Cole Caulfield off the feed from Hudson, and Montreal regain the lead 3-2. So as the players head off the ice, We got a scrum here in front of the Washington bench, JP. The Capitals were not allowing Jakub Dobeš to get through the crowd, and here goes Wilson. Far side with Anderson. It spills into the Capital bench. Anderson and Wilson wrestling right along the Washington Capital bench. And everybody has a hold of somebody as Wilson and Anderson go down. This is old school hockey. As now Dubois gets into it with Goulet. Now Dvorak in the middle. This is a giant scrum. I don't know if we got enough officials here, JP, to break this up tonight.
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens Hockey on TSN 690. I'm your host, Mitch Gallo, with Lucas Scott. Canadiens lead the Washington Capitals by a score of 3-2 after 2 periods of play. Let's get you your scoring recap from the second period. 8:37, Nick Suzuki, power play goal, backhander in. And that's his second of the playoffs, unassisted goal for Montreal, giving the Habs a 2-1 lead. At 10:47, Jacob Chychrun scored his first of the playoffs from Andrew Mangiapane and Lars Eller. That was at 10:47. And then with 9 seconds left in the period, Lane Hudson with a good keep-in at the line, jumping the lane on Ovechkin. Hudson feeds it over to Cole Caulfield. Caulfield snipes, and the Montreal Canadiens lead 3-2. And then a lot of animosity right in front of the Washington Capitals bench, which you heard Victor Finley describing before he went to break. It is a time for the second intermission roundtable, and we have Victor Finley with us. And Victor, you're pretty fired up here in the press box. I didn't know you had so much old school in you. I guess it took playoff hockey to bring that out.
I'm still fired up, Mitch. That's awesome. I love that stuff. I've seen so much weird stuff through the years, university hockey, OHL hockey. I've never seen something like that here at the Bell Center with this crowd, this game tonight. That is awesome. That's why I love this job. That's why I love Montreal as a hockey city.
All right, so what do the referees do with this?
I have no idea. They need the old Garrett rake. Everybody on the ice gets a 2-minute or misconduct, whatever it was, for everybody. Honestly, I don't have the faintest idea here, Mitch. I'm not sure if there's going to be an extra two-handed. It's not Anderson's fault that he wound up in the bench. The door was open. He gets pushed through it, and then Wilson drives him right into the bench, too. So they just happen to be there by kind of coincidence. So I don't know what the rule is. Obviously, if you come off the bench to instigate a fight or partake in a fight, that's an automatic suspension. I've never seen an instance where the fight goes into the bench like that.
The opposite way. Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that.
I mean, very old school. I don't know if I've seen it any time recently. I'm sure Chris Nyland is getting a kick out of that somewhere.
Can you imagine if Chris Nyland was a coach for the Washington? He would have been involved in that in that fight himself.
Yeah, that's a good
hands-on.
point. And that would have resulted in a suspension or two.
There are some coaches in the National Hockey League, the American Hockey League, that absolutely would have got their hands on one of those two players.
Feel bad for the linesman, too, who was caught up in the middle of it.
Yeah, well, Kyle Flemington's a former OHL tough guy. He played with Sarnia, Saginaw, and the London Knights of the Ontario Hockey League. He's a pretty big guy, but obviously no match to break up.
He's trying to play peacekeeper, though. He's not fighting.
No, not at all. I mean, that's I watched him a little bit, and he could throw the knuckles. There's no doubt about it, the OHL, but he was clearly outmatched there between those two guys in Anderson and Wilson.
So obviously a fun and exciting end to the period, but all that stuff and the fisticuffs, that's kind of a subplot here. The big story of the second period, Sam Montembeault leaves with injury. Victor, that's tough because he's been their best player. And B, a difficult spot for Dobeš to come in here mid-game in not a situation where, you're trying to change momentum. It's because of an injury, getting his first taste of playoff hockey. He wasn't really tested when he got in there. Washington did not apply a lot of pressure, did not test them out. But your take on what happened with the goaltenders there in that second period?
Yeah, they've given Dobeš credit for a save. I honestly don't know where it would have come from. I mean, the Capitals, the best chance they had a bit of a 2-on-1 off a broken play, and then Strome couldn't get it across on the feed because it was blocked by Alex Carrier. So Jakub Dobeš really hasn't faced a good test yet so far in 8 minutes and 21 seconds of action. You showed us, Mitch, the clip of where Sam Montembeault tweaks whatever he did to send him off. And the fact that he didn't return there, even to sit on the bench toward the end of the period suggests to me, Mitch, that he's not going to be ready to return to this game for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. And obviously, there are tremendous implications, not only for what that means tonight, but for the rest of the series, because we haven't had a goaltending injury here in Montreal since I've taken this job as play-by-play voice of the Habs. They've been all healthy last year. Everyone was healthy in between the pipes this year. It's been a long time since they've had an injury situation with one of their goaltenders.
So I'm just looking at the score sheet right now, and here's what it looks like at the end of the period. Arbor Jacki roughing on Lars Eller. Lars Eller roughing on Arbor Jacki. Tom Wilson roughing on Josh Anderson. Josh Anderson roughing on Tom Wilson. And both Anderson and Wilson given misconducts. So it looks like it's all going to be offsetting, but Anderson and Wilson will probably have to watch the first half of the period in the penalty box being given 10s.
And you know what, too, Mitch? I want to go back to the start of that, because I think it really, obviously there was a bit of a scrum, but they didn't let, as I mentioned there on the call, they didn't allow Dobich a clean path to go back to the dressing room. So while Jacki was going at it a little bit with Tom Wilson, we saw Dobich start chirping at a couple Capital players. He had to go around the long way. And we talked about this the last Leaf game that Dobich played, where he was brilliant. He was right into it. We've seen it with Jordan Greenway getting face-to-face with Dobich. He is not afraid to battle and get into the fight, get into players' faces, and throw some chirps around there himself. Forget the fact he's only played half a season in the National Hockey League. That's the way he's always played, whether it's with Omaha in the USHL or Ohio State in the NCAA. Jakub Dobich is a battler. He's going to be in the heat of the moment. And I think Logan Thompson, to be honest with you, is the same way as well. So I think now we've got a matchup of two goaltenders that like to be in the heat of the game, a little bit like Jordan Binnington. Not to say that we're going to see a goalie fight here between Thompson and Jakub Dobich, but everybody, it's all hands on deck right now in terms of being in the heat of the battle.
I'll tell you, typically I would say if you take Wilson and Anderson off for 10 minutes apiece, advantage Montreal. Tom Wilson's a 30-goal scorer. However, with the way they've been playing in the series and specifically in this game, man, that's not a great trade-off for Montreal, actually. Anderson's been an absolute beast.
He has. Yeah, he has been such a tone setter. But especially on a night, too, where where the best chances for Montreal come off of? Sloppy play with the puck by the Washington Capitals, and a big catalyst for generating those opportunities is a guy like Josh Anderson on the forecheck. So I agree with you there, Mitch. That's maybe not the best trade-off here for Montreal.
All right, so what's the approach for Montreal here in the third period? They get that goal with 9 seconds left in the second. They're playing with a lead. This is by far their best stretch of hockey through 40 minutes.
Yeah.
They are the better team tonight. I can't say that they were the better team during the 60 minutes of hockey in games 1 and 2. They were good in stretches.
Yeah.
But this is the most complete effort we've seen. What kind of approach from Montreal here in the third?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that the Canadiens deserve to be on top tonight, contrary to what we would be able to say through 40 minutes in the first two games of the series. I think Washington's going to try and drag them into more of that stuff that we saw towards the end of the period. And while I know a guy like Jacki wants to be right in the middle of that, I think when you're leading 3-2 right now in this situation, you have to be really, really careful. You cannot take a bad penalty. That's what gave Montreal the open door to get back into game one and tie it. That could be the exact opening that the Washington Capitals need to get back and tie this game up in the third period tonight. So it's got to be a patient, disciplined effort from the Montreal Canadiens, but at the same time, you cannot just fall back either. This team has to continue to play with confidence and with some aggression in their game in order to maintain this lead against Washington.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Thank you, Mitch.
Victor back with the third period. I'm sure he's going to be fired up. I'm Mitch Gallo. I'm here at the Bell Center. The Canadiens lead the Capitals 3-2 after 2. Coming up next, we'll get you caught up with the out-of-town scoreboard here on TSN 690.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Here, we like to keep it fresh because Tim's coffee is brewed fresh every 20 minutes. Whether you're on the go or at your desk, it's always the perfect time for Canada's favorite coffee, made with 100% premium Arabica beans. It's time for fresh. It's time for Tim's.
There's nothing like hockey night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech. Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
You get intimidated a little bit because of reputation. Make no mistake, they do come on you hard, but sometimes you do have a chance maybe to hang on to the puck.
Oh, Heischer's in behind, takes the feed, he scores! Nico Hischier sneaks behind the Hurricane D, and the Devils lead!
Welcome back to Montreal Canadiens hockey on TSN 690. The Canadiens have a 3-2 lead on the Washington Capitals thanks to Cole Caulfield's second of the series. Well, let's get you caught up with the out-of-town scoreboard. Only one other game currently in action. About a minute into the second period, the New Jersey Devils have a 1-0 lead on the Carolina Hurricanes. It was Nico Hischier's second goal of the series, beating Frederik Andersen. Timo Meier and Andre Palat get assists on that one as the Devils trailed the Hurricanes in the series 2-0. But they're up 1-0 in this one. The Devils did get defenseman Jonas Siegenthaler back, and he hadn't played since February. Also, in about 50 minutes, puck drop in Game 3 between the LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. Kings lead that series 2-0. And with the dire situation of going down 3-0, the Oilers make a change in goal, and it will be Calvin Pickard starting for the Oilers in Game 3 tonight against the Kings. The Oilers have surrendered 12 goals so far in the series. All right, that's your out-of-town scoreboard. Here at the Bell Center, the Canadiens lead the Capitals by a score of 3-2. If you're just joining us after that melee to end the period, both Tom Wilson and Josh Anderson have been given 2-minute minors and 10-minute misconducts. Coming up next, the third period with Victor Finley and JP O'Connor on the TSN 690 Habs Radio Network.
Are you looking for an insurance broker, passionate and professional? With 65 years of experience, SR Insurance has proven to be totally dedicated to serving its clients. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, their brokers have one priority: to find you the best offer available to insure your home, car, and all other types of motorized vehicles. Call 833-370-2704 or visit sr.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
At Point S, we're already geared up for spring. And as the Habs coach would say, you always want to grab the best seat possible, or in this case, the best tires. Drive for victory this summer with Pirelli and get up to $100 in mail-in rebates when you buy 4 selected Pirelli tires. Offer valid until May 18th. Just visit your Point S garage or go to point-s.ca to claim your offer. Drive stress-free with Point S, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
There's nothing like Hockey Night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
This is Montreal Canadiens hockey on your home of the Habs, TSN 690.
Welcome back inside Bell Center. About 20 seconds away from puck drop here in the start of the third period with the Montreal Canadiens up 3-2. Victor Fidley with JP O'Connor on the call tonight. JP, we've got a laundry list of penalties after that second period, but it looks like we're going to start this third even strength.
Well, shall we get to them? Let's explain what happened at least, or who's going to be in the box.
And we got Jack-Eye roughing against Eller, then Eller roughing against Jack-Eye, and Tom Wilson and Josh Anderson roughing against one another, then misconducts on top of the minors for both Anderson and Wilson, who will miss 12 minutes of this period.
They will. And we're going to give Kyle Flemington, the linesman, we're going to give him a 10 out of 10 style score on his surfing down the bench.
He was
Tom Wilson and
along for the ride.
Along
was
for the
Kyle
ride,
Flemington.
Yep.
You know what, though? So are we.
We're along for the ride. We saw Marty St. Louis just before the Habs left the tunnel to get back into the ice, come out, give his goalie, Jakub Dobeš, a pat in the back. Sam Montembeault has not returned to the crease, so it'll be Dobeš the rest of the way.
And Montembeault's not even on the bench still for Montreal as we begin the third period. 5-on-5. It's the old Armia on the ice with Gallagher and Dvorak taking that spot from Josh Anderson, who's in the box as the Canadiens play it out to center ice. Moving now from right to left. As it's carried in far side, Rasmus Sandin catches a good piece of Alex Carrier. Capitals throw it around in their own zone. Here's Dvorak off the forecheck. Skates in behind the net, run into by Matt Roy. Centering feed, Gallagher is there, but it's quickly cleared away by Leonard. Off the boards, not out. Here's Matheson, left side with a shot. Sharp glove save made by Logan Thompson.
Logan Thompson had Brendan Gallagher all over him. Gallagher had caught him with a little bit of a high stick a moment prior, but Mike Matheson gets the puck at the blue line. Gallagher slides back into space. Matheson gets a lot on that shot, and you can see Thompson flash the leather to make the save.
Shots 27-14 in favor of the Montreal Canadiens. As we face off to the glove-hand side of Thompson. Nick Dowd versus Alex Newhook. Capitals win it back. Here's Chychrun behind his own net. Off the boards, up to center ice. Taken away by Caulfield. He's ridden out into the boards by Nick Dowd. Dowd's got it. Plays it down the right side. Gooley fishes it away from Brandon Duhaime. Now Hudson behind his own net. On the breakout. Slowly up to center, swatted away by Evans. Goes over to Gooley, he'll play it in from center ice. Thompson stops it behind his net. Passing it off, Chychrun. Dodges contact from Demidov. As John Carlson plays it ahead to center. Backhanded in by Duhaime. Picked up by Hudson from behind his own net. Lane Hudson cruising ahead to center. Wrists it in. As the puck goes around for Leonard.
It's a delayed offside. Canadiens are going to have to back out.
Capitals slowly ahead to the neutral zone. Van Riemsdyk rips it in. Behind Dobeš. Goes all the way back up to the blue line. Far side. Van Riemsdyk looks for the angle. Shot tipped wide of the net. Now back behind it. Leonard pokes it over. Far side. Carrier steps into the boards with Connor McMichael. McMichael tries to shake off pressure, passes back, finds Dylan Strome, hands it over Van Riemsdyk side of the net. That's tipped just wide by Connor McMichael. Now far side, here goes Suzuki. With speed through center, good stick from Van Riemsdyk, swats it to the far side.
Van Riemsdyk was in trouble there. If he doesn't make that save or that move with his stick, I think Suzuki's past him.
Van Riemsdyk deep at his own end. Passing off to Ryan Leonard. Pressure on the near side. Leonard has that knocked away, but it goes right to Van Riemsdyk. Trevor Van Riemsdyk passes through. Brought in on the right side. Dylan Strome passes over. They score! Alexander Ovechkin off the one-time rip on the feed from Strome. And the game is tied at 3.
What a finish by Ovechkin as he collects this puck. And as is always the case, it's so tough to pick guys up as they come off the bench. It had been a change. Ovechkin jumps on. Nobody sees him. He's got a full head of steam coming down the left-hand side of the ice. And it's a swift pass across from Strome to Ovechkin, who no chance he's going to miss it from there. And it's behind Dobeš.
And that's 8 goals in 10 playoff games for Ovechkin head-to-head against the Montreal Canadiens. His third of the series after having just 1 goal over 11 postseason games prior to this year. He was bageled by the Rangers last year in that 4-game sweep. But he's made a lot of noise in this series thus far. We are tied at 3 in Game 3 with 17-12 to go in the third. Savard deep in his own zone. Plays it down the far side. Army had touched it, but he hadn't crossed center ice, and that's going to be an icing.
So this is a tougher position for the Canadiens to be in right now as they find themselves tied, just 3 minutes gone here in the third period. I think the key, though, and I'm sure it's something that Marty St. Louis will have preached, is a little bit of patience. Got to be opportunistic, but be patient.
So Ovechkin from Strome and Beauvillier at 2:39. How good has Beauvillier been in this series? Points in every game. As here's Arbor Jacki deep in his own zone off the faceoff win. Off the boards, icing's waved. Thompson out to play it. Swings it to the far side for Rasmus Sandin. Lifts it out to center ice. Hudson is it back in front of his own bench. Taken away by Ovechkin. Down the far side with a shot. That's played on, and Dobeš hangs on for the whistle.
On the Caps right now, that's one of the messages that I pass to my team if I'm Carberry, saying everything on Dobeš. Hasn't been challenged too much when he came in the second period. You get a chance, let one fly at him. If you're not going to get an angle, maybe even let it fly a little bit high. Buzz the tower, as it were, but Dobeš is able to collect that puck from Ovechkin. Wasn't the same case just a moment ago as Ovechkin ties this game up.
Dobeš does have a win against the Caps this year. They started him in that overtime win back in January. Matter of fact, the 3 regular season games between these two teams, the Canadiens started 3 different netminders. Kaden Primo, Sam Montembeault, and Jakub Dobeš each played 1 game in the season series. Face-off far side on Dobeš. And Mangiapane wins it back. Quick wrister is flown wide of the net by Ryan Leonard. Canadiens push it ahead to center. Here goes Ivan Demidov up the middle, but he lost the handle on it. Bumped off the puck now by Jacob Chychrun. Worked up the far side, out to center. Here goes Lars Eller, backhands it in, glove down by Goulet. Goulet rips it ahead for Demidov. Can't get it in over the line past Chychrun. Now Demidov taken to the far side, boards by Eller and Mangiapane. And as the puck floats back for Montreal. Picked up by Lane Hudson. Out to center. Fires it in off the glass. Around it comes for Jacob Chychrun. Far side boards. Skips to the line, not out. Hudson might have brought that back over. And it is going to be called here for offside with 15:53 to go in the third in a 3-3 tie game.
We can see the Caps called for that offside immediately. Even Logan Thompson had his hand up.
So face off in the neutral zone. Interesting to see here, JP, how Spencer Carberry continues to juggle his lines without Tom Wilson. Throws things into flux a little bit, but this combination of Duhaime and Dowd with Radish is not being touched.
Well, listen, I would be pretty pleased right now if I was Duhaime, because after the two penalties he took in the second period, you could probably see an opportunity maybe to shorten the bench or at least send a message that there's going to be more discipline needed from the Caps.
Canadians shoot it in from center. Savard wraps it around the boards. Here's Dvorak. Scores! Christian Dvorak throws it out in front. That's deflected home on Thompson. And the Canadiens pull back in front 4-3.
Christian Dvorak takes advantage of that play. Yoel Armia keeps that puck alive, and it slides right back to Dvorak. Dvorak's looking for a pass. He's looking to hit Gallagher's stick, and instead it gets a tip off of Brandon Duhaime. Been talking about him a lot. That's not what he wanted to do right there as he deflects that puck past Logan Thompson. Canadians retake the lead.
On Dvorak. Got credit for a goal in game 2. And it looked like it might have been scored by Josh Anderson. He got some help on this one as well, but it's from Brandon Duhaime. And once again, the Montreal Canadiens are back in front. Washington back on the attack now, deep in the Montreal zone. Here's Carrier up the near side. Canadians skate to center. Carrier backhands it in and then runs right over Matt Roy.
Has a look at him as well.
Out in front, Dvorak can't fire it on clean. Roy got his stick in the way. Big pile up side of the net. Someone's broke their stick. It's Pierre-Luc Dubois. As it comes back to the side. Brought around. Here goes Christian Dvorak up high. Leaves it for Mike Matheson. Left side out in front. There's the shot. Carrier can't squeeze it short side. Handled by Matt Roy. Back ahead to center. This goes in off the boards. Ryan Leonard beats out Mike Matheson, centers it. Here's Carlson. The shot. Dobich makes the save. Habs clear it to center. Might have a 2-on-1. Suzuki tried to pass it over. That's broken up. Carlson back in the neutral zone. Lost the handle on it. Caulfield. Far side. Wrister. That's stopped by Thompson. 14:30 to go in the third. 4-3 for Montreal. Goulet at the line. Down the near side. Past Caulfield. Back behind the Washington net. It's picked up by Chychrun. Slowly to center. Snaps his stick at 2. Pass is broken up by Dylan Strome.
Suzuki was gone.
And the Capitals go back to the neutral zone. Van Riemsdyk banks it off the boards. Down ice. Lane Hudson plays it back through center. This will be handled by Washington. Far side off the boards. Bounces in for Newhook. Canadians control it deep in their own end. Out through the neutral zone. Newhook gets tied up with Van Riemsdyk. We got an arm in the air. And they might be calling this on Newhook. Fans think this is going to be a Montreal power play. Not so sure that's going to be the case. Oh, it might be. Yes, it is. Van Riemsdyk going to the box.
Feet get tangled up at the blue line.
Newhook thought he was guilty.
Washington, number 57, Montreal interference.
And it will be a Habs power play for the 4th time tonight. They are 1 for 3 so far. We'll get to it when we come back to Habs Hockey on TSN 690.
All rights to this broadcast are reserved, and any rebroadcast recording, retransmission, or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the Montreal Canadiens is expressly prohibited.
$1 wings, $1 wings, $1 wings. Boston Pizza has the ultimate lineup. During every Montreal game this season, our wings are only $1 each at Boston Pizza. Come in for some delicious wings, an ice-cold Molson, and a great game. Now that's a winning trio. Visit bostonpizza.com to find a Boston Pizza near you and reserve your table. Boston Pizza is the place to be. See details in restaurant.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech. Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
The home of your Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690.
13:41 to go in the third. We got a 4-3 lead for Montreal. The Canadiens are going to the power play presented by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Now this is a real tough penalty for Washington, and I'd be pretty angry if I was one of the Caps. Trevor Van Riemsdyk just trying to get out of the way at the blue line and gets caught up with Newhook. Newhook goes to ground. Everybody's a little bit confused, but it's going to be a Canadiens power play.
And JP, we do have a goaltender back on the Montreal bench. It is not Sam Montembeault. I do not know who that is, but it must be the emergency backup for the game tonight.
Well, we see this Ebug who's up on the press gallery every single night. He's always here. But he's down, he's gotten changed. And he's got a great view of a great game.
Habs to the power play. Suzuki to take the face-off versus Nick Dowd. Canadians win it back. Caulfield hands off to Hudson. Far side, Demidov lets it go over to Slavkovsky. Stolen away by Washington, and John Carlson clears it off the boards down the ice. Dobish leaves it behind for Lane Hudson. He'll curl that back for Nick Suzuki. Over to Caulfield through center with Juraj Slavkovsky. Drops it back. Lane Hudson's offside with 1:33 to go on the minor penalty to Trevor Van Riemsdyk.
You know, you can look at that play by Slavkovsky as a fan and be frustrated because it was a tough pass that he throws back to the point. But that puck has to get a little bit deeper yet into the Capital zone before they turn it right back up, and that's Caulfield. If he can take an extra step, then he gives Slavkovsky an extra second to handle that puck and bump it back to Hudson.
Neutral zone face-off, Dowd versus Suzuki, and Suzuki wins it. Lane Hudson shoots it in. Hurrying over to it is Matt Roy. He'll poke it up the wing for Dowd. Off the glass and out. It skips all the way to the side of the net for Jakub Dobish. 1:17 to go on the 5-on-4. Here's Cole Caulfield at his own end. Hands it off to Nick Suzuki. Through center ice for Slavkovsky down the left side. Habs look to set it up. Caps all over them in the corner. They cannot get it out. Hudson at the point. Far side. Demidov back for Lane Hudson with a wrister. That got through. Save made by Logan Thompson. And a shot round the boards. And bounces off of Caulfield. Call that for a hand pass. And that'll bring the face-off outside.
Caulfield says he's just getting his arm up to protect himself. The door's open. Tom Wilson's coming right back in. He's been in the locker room for a few minutes, but he's going to come back out into the penalty box to serve the rest of this 10-minute misconduct that he had with Josh Anderson.
Both Anderson and Wilson will be eligible to return with 8 minutes to go in this second period, or rather in the third. Shots now 31-17 in favor of Montreal. 47 seconds left in this power play. The Canadiens have their second power play unit on the ice. Heineman, Suzuki, Newhook with Matheson and Gallagher. Nick Dowd to take the face-off for Washington. He's going to get waved here. So Brandon Duhaime will step in. And a quick win for Newhook. Over to the far side. Here goes Gallagher. He'll shoot it around the boards. Comes over for Dowd. Plays it back. Capitals cannot clear. Matheson at the line under pressure. Gave it away, and Dowd will deposit it back down the ice. 30 seconds to go in the power play. Matheson drops it off. Newhook out through center. Winding it over the line. Off to Nick Suzuki. Back to the blue line. Matheson for Suzuki near side. Pressured by McMichael. Comes down low. Takes a weird bounce out in front, but it'll go all the way out to center ice. Dying seconds of the power play. Here's Suzuki near wing. Steps in. Back up top. One-timer in front. That goes just wide off the deflection. Gallagher couldn't put it home. Thompson's got no stick. We are back to 5-on-5. Far side. Newhook passes up. Gallagher throws it wide of the net. Near side point. Matheson off the Newhook. Far side. Carrier passing off. He'll get it back. One-timer. That sails wide. Now Matheson knocked to the boards by Lars Eller. Battle for it behind the Washington net. Gathered again by the Caps. And they'll clear this out to center ice. 11:08 to go in the third. 4-3 Montreal. Still no stick for Thompson. As the puck carries around to center ice for Gooley. He'll shoot it in. And Thompson finally retrieves his goal stick. Here's Dylan Strome. Turns it around for Alexander Alexiev. Far side. Here come the Caps. Anthony Beauvillier to the corner. Puck squirts loose for Caden Gooley. Now handled behind the Montreal net by Christian Dvorak. Off the boards, past Heineman, out to center. Now settled down by Matt Roy. Capitals start the breakout. Here's Ovechkin, near side. Dylan Strome steps in over the line. Far side, Strome with a shot. Blocker save made by Dobish. Back around, near corner. Gooley with it, overskated it. Threads it back behind the net for Lane Hudson. Now Hudson will wait as Montreal and Washington change. Hudson passes over near side to Gooley. Out to center. This is tipped in by Ivan Demidov. Skates it down behind the net. Demidov. Pass splits the D and goes all the way back to Jakub Dobish. Out of the net. He'll pass it over to David Savard. Just lobbed out to center. Van Riemsdyk back off the boards. And here come the Capitals. Ryan Leonard through the slot on the backhand. Weak shot. Directed aside off a body. Far side. Mangiapane with it. Back over to Van Riemsdyk. Waits. Passes over. One-timer for Carlson. Deflected off a body.
That looked like got a piece of Demidov.
Now Savard plays it to the far side. Over to Slavkovsky. And he's able to get it out to center ice. Capitals corral it. 9:20 left in the third. 4-3 Montreal. Capitals backtracking. Van Riemsdyk by his own net. Snaps it ahead to center. Lars Eller stripped of the puck. Here the Habs the other way. Caulfield near side. Passes over. Good stick from Matt Roy. Breaks it up. Caps back down the other way. Here goes Jacob Chychrun. In on Mike Matheson. Puck goes in behind Jakub Dobish. Picked up by Lars Eller. He'll scoop it to the line. Roy plays it right off of Suzuki. He'll get that back out through center ice. Into the Washington zone it comes. Jacob Chychrun to the line. And not out. Not yet anyway. Now it's handled by Suzuki. Down low, Caulfield, ambitious shot. And it's stopped by Thompson, who sealed off the goalpost.
Oh, that was Caulfield from below the goal line as he tries to bank that one in on the short side on Thompson.
8:25 to go. 1-goal lead Montreal. Both teams change. Capitals start out from behind their own net. Matt Roy looks it up the far side. Rasmus Sandin wrists it in. Puck carries around. Alexiev keeps it moving. Yoel Armia off the boards. Pressure comes loose for Anthony Beauvillier. Side of the net, swatted away. Here go the Habs out to center. Dvorak shoots it right in on Thompson. Loose in front. Steered aside by John Carlson. Back to the side of the net. Yoel Armia is worked over. And fans hollering for a penalty. Won't get one here. Gooley at the line. Filters it back down low behind the net. Out in front. Logan Thompson's broken his goal stick. He's got a player stick right now. As the Capitals come out through center. Here goes Dubois down the near side. With Alex Ovechkin move to the inside. Ovechkin runs out of room. Can't get a shot off.
He's just trying to pull his way to the net.
Now Hudson throws it down the near side. Emil Heineman pushed into the boards by Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Gets it free. Heineman passes off. Newhook with a shot. Might have been a stick save from Thompson. As it comes back around, Trevor Van Riemsdyk under pressure from Newhook in the corner. Throws it around. Mangiapane picks it up. Back to Van Riemsdyk. Throws it to center. That's rejected. Newhook carries it back in near side. He'll throw weird bounce off the boards. That's directed aside by Thompson.
That's the second time we've seen that bounce. Another place you got to keep an eye out here in Montreal.
Mangiapane with it at center, right side. Hands off to Dylan Strome. Give it away at center to Uri Slavkovsky. Rolling in, off to Caulfield, back and forth. Scores! Caulfield to Slavkovsky. And for the first time tonight, it's a multi-goal lead for Montreal.
What a play by Slavkovsky as he collects a turnover in the neutral zone, gets the blue line, he kicks it out to Caulfield. Caulfield sells the shot the entire way, and then he bumps it back to Slavkovsky. It's an open net, and then insult to injury. Strome barrels over the top of his own goaltender, Logan Thompson, who's still down in the ground. I think he's going to be okay, but that is some hit to take after you let a goal in.
Sam Montembeault already out of this game for Montreal. And now Logan Thompson under inspection at the side of the net. And Juraj Slafkovsky has scored his first career goal in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Logan Thompson is going to go back down the tunnel for Washington. He can't put any weight on his left leg.
What an unfortunate situation to happen, as it just compounds what we just saw as the Caps turned that puck over in the neutral zone. Canadians bagged the goal, and Thompson looks really uncomfortable leading the ice.
So we have a 5-3 game in the third. We have seen a fight on the Washington Capital bench, and now we are down 2 starting netminders. As it should be Charlie Lindgren emerging from the tunnel here for Washington. Of course, the visiting team backup goaltender does not sit on the bench. Here comes Charlie Lindgren, the former Hab. He gets a chorus of boos upon his return to Montreal tonight.
Well, no doubt that will motivate Charlie Lindgren as he rediscovers his crease at the Bell Center. Kind of unusual, too, for the Capitals this year, as both of their goaltenders are right-handed catches. I'll tell you who's most nervous right now is the emergency backup. He is one shot away from being in deep trouble.
6:37 still to go in this third period.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, you're not, buddy. You are not. As amidst all this ruckus, Josh Anderson and Tom Wilson have returned to the ice, so there's 2 more combustible elements.
They'll be taking this face-off once Charlie Lindgren gets set, just having a quick drink of water as he resets his equipment, puts his glove on. But Anderson and Wilson already having a chat.
So it's a 2-goal lead, 6.5 to go. I don't know if it's going to be enough, JP. It feels like no lead is safe in this game. And we've still got sufficient time here to play. Referees are on the headset right now.
Well, here's one thing, and this is just before the referees get off the headset. If you're going to stand and you're prepared to exchange chances with either team, doesn't matter if you're Washington or you're Montreal, you need to stack the odds on your side. You've got to have bodies in good position, and you need to have it done consistently. I think what we'll see with Montreal right now is they might take some chances, but the chances are going to be calculated, and they're going to have bodies in position to protect defensively.
Par le numéro 20. Canadiens goal is first to the playoffs, scored by number 20, Juraj Slafkovsky.
Capitals working around in the Montreal zone. Here is Pierre-Luc Dubois. Near side off the board. Skates it to the point. Throws it back out in front. That's blocked by Christian Dvorak. Here go the Habs out to center. Anderson, far side shot, and the save is made by Charlie Lindgren.
Well, how about that save for Lindgren as he comes in after Logan Thompson leaves? The first shot you get is a 2-on-1 coming down from Josh Anderson. And Lindgren does make that save. I do want to bring it back to that play that we just saw, though, but we'll talk to you about it after the break.
We need a break. 6:09 to go in the third. We'll catch our breath. It's a 5-3 lead for Montreal and Habs hockey on TSN 690.
Are you looking for an insurance broker, passionate and professional? With 65 years of experience, SO Insurance has proven to be totally dedicated to serving its clients. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, their brokers have one priority: to find you the best offer available to insure your home, car, and all other types of motorized vehicles. Call 833-370-2704 or visit SOR.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
At Point S, we're already geared up for spring. And as the Habs coach would say, you always want to grab the best seat possible, or in this case, the best tires. Drive for victory this summer with Pirelli and get up to $100 in mail-in rebates when you buy 4 selected Pirelli tires. Offer valid until May 18th. Just visit your Point S garage or go to point-s.ca to claim your offer. Drive stress-free with Point S, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Canadiens hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Welcome back inside the Bell Center. We got 6:09 to go. And what is now a 2-goal lead for the Montreal Canadiens in the third period. JP, everybody's got to chip in a game like this, and you saw something you like from Christian Dvorak.
Well, I just love the play with Dvorak that leads to the 2-on-1 and the opportunity on Charlie Lindgren. Listen, the easy thing to do if you're Dvorak, you're in front of your own net, you're feeling a little bit under pressure, is just to turn, fire it in the corner, and go sort it out in there. At least you're safe. Dvorak, the veteran, he gets the puck down, quick heads up look, right up to the ice, and it leads to that 2-on-1. If the goal goes in, you forget about that play, but that is where everything starts. A heads up play by Dvorak.
Face off, far side, Washington zone. Capitals win it back. Here is Matt Roy. Ryan Leonard passes ahead to center ice. Sandin carries it over the line. Far side across, Mangiapane with a shot, and Jakub Dovish caught just enough of it. Back to the near side, Caulfield picks it up, zips it ahead to center for Nick Suzuki. He'll work it in off the boards. Now Lindgren out behind his own net. He'll leave it behind. Rasmus Sandin ahead for Roy. He'll loft it through center. Slavkovsky to the end boards with Lars Eller. Canadians chip it out to center ice. Now Matt Roy turns around with it. Passing off. Far side, Chychrun through the neutral zone. Cross ice feed. Goes past Ovechkin out to center. He works it back in. Joel Armia behind his own net. We got a whistle here. I don't know if they're calling this offside.
That was the idea there. It's taking a little bit of a little time for the players to hear that whistle.
That's why we can't hear anything tonight. It's been a boisterous crowd all night. They've waited nearly 8 years to the day for this. And the Habs have rewarded them so far. 5-3 tonight in Montreal for the Canadiens. Here goes Alex Newhook into the far corner, Washington zone. Puck is taken away by John Carlson. Played across the ice by Anthony Beauvillier. Back out to center, picked off by Joel Armia. Skates in over the blue line. Armia far side shot is flanked down by Lindgren. They're going to call a whistle on this. Lindgren wanted to play that, but it will be an ozone face-off for the Habs with 4:49 to go in the third.
Well, I agree with you on that. Lindgren did look like he wanted to play it. It was a shot that kind of wobbles in a little bit from Joel Armia, but Lindgren handles it.
We got one more break here in the third period. We'll take it now. So 5-3 lead for Montreal and Habs hockey on VSN 690.
Are you looking for an insurance broker, passionate and professional? With 65 years of experience, SO Insurance has proven to be totally dedicated to serving its clients. Present in 12 regions in Quebec, their brokers have one priority: to find you the best offer available to insure your home, car, and all other types of motorized vehicles. Call 833-370-2704 or visit SOR.ca to ask for a quote. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
At Point S, we're already geared up for spring. And as the Habs coach would say, you always want to grab the best seat possible. Or, in this case, the best tires. Drive for victory this summer with Pirelli and get up to $100 in mail-in rebates when you buy 4 selected Pirelli tires. Offer valid until May 18th. Just visit your Point S garage or go to point-s.ca to claim your offer. Drive stress-free with Point S, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens.
Craving great food, big games, and an unbeatable atmosphere? Head to La Cage. Whether you're here for the wings or the wins, or to have a good time, one thing's for sure. At La Cage, everyone's a fan.
There's nothing like hockey night in Montreal. See the Habs live at the Bell Center and be part of the NHL's most electric atmosphere. Don't miss out on the action. Visit Canadiens.com/tickets today.
Canadiens Hockey is presented by SOR Insurance. You deserve the best broker there is. SOR Insurance, official damage insurance partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Enjoy the game.
Back inside the Bell Center, 5-3 the lead for Montreal. Latest goal, Juraj Slavkovsky. assisted by Cole Caulfield at 13:23. We got a face-off here, far side, Washington zone. Montreal win it back. Here's Carrier from the line. Shot gets right through on Lindgren, who absorbs that for the whistle.
Well, where have you seen that play before with Carrier? We saw it in the first period as he catches that puck, walks the blue line, and found his first goal of this postseason. Charlie Lindgren has looked pretty solid for a guy who just gets parachuted into a game on 2-on-1. A couple of shots right after that, he's looking pretty solid in his net.
4 playoff games in the career of Charlie Lindgren out of last year with the Washington Capitals. Habs win the face-off. Another shot from Carrier, sails wide. Poke to the far side. Here's Gallagher, a little backhand out in front. Trying to get it loose. It rolls back toward Carrier. Far side, Gallagher with a whack at it. That's blocked by Chychrun. Gallagher far side, tried to center. That's broken up. Delayed penalty upcoming against Washington. This is picked up in the corner. Montreal are going back to the man-to-man with 4:23 left as we got another big scrum on the near side.
We're seeing Gallagher down there get this Chychrun who got a hold of him. I think this is where the penalty is going to come from. It's going to be Chychrun heading off. But we see another one now. Pierre-Luc Dubois getting into it. Dvorak is there. John Carlson coming in, seems kind of taking the temperature out of this right now. But no question, it's going to be a cross-check on Chychrun on Gallagher in the corner. Just dumps Gallagher as he was trying to feed that puck back out net front. Now here's where things are going to get a little dicey here. 4 minutes and 23 seconds to go. The Canadiens are up 2. Caps are on the PK. You got to wonder now what Spencer Carbery is going to start taking a look at. He's going to start running out of time, that's for sure.
So Josh Anderson and Tom Wilson separated again by Kyle Flemington, who used to be a teammate in London of Josh Anderson back in 2011-12. And Tom Wilson played with the Plymouth Whalers that season in the OHL. Lots of familiarity between those three. So, Montreal Power Play presented by Ford of Canada, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Habs are 1 for 4 tonight. And this faceoff will come outside the Washington zone. Habs start with the first unit. And the faceoff goes back for Ivan Demidov. Picks it up. And passes off for Lane Hudson. He'll drop it back again. Nick Suzuki with it through center. Far side, Demidov backhands it off the boards, and around it comes for Juraj Slafkovsky. Sends it back down low. Matt Roy rips this around the boards all the way down the ice for Jakub Dobish. And he'll pull it back behind his own net. And Lane Hudson winding ahead to center ice. Hudson down the near side. Stolen away by Connor McMichael. Taken back by Montreal. Back into their own zone. Suzuki far side. Demidov back to Suzuki. Shots 39-19 in favor of the Canadiens tonight, who've outplayed the Washington Capitals. We got 3.5 to go in this one. Habs trying to wrap it up. Slafkovsky throws it around the boards. Far side, Caulfield. Demidov banks it over to Hudson. Back to Demidov. Down low. Slafkovsky for Demidov again. Back out in front. Swing and a miss for Nick Suzuki. As it comes over to the near side boards, Lane Hudson takes it away. Passing off Suzuki. Down low behind the net. Slafkovsky with it. Over to Caulfield. Drops it back. Demidov has it up high. 35 seconds left of the power play. Demidov, far side. Slafkovsky down low, mishandled it. Back out in front, no one there for Montreal. And the Capitals quickly clear it down the ice. And as Van Riemsdyk and Slafkovsky get into it, now Dowd throws a bit of a shove. And as the Montreal Canadiens start ahead to center ice. Here goes Alex Newhook. He'll chip this one to the far corner. Picks it up. Keeps it away from Rasmus Sandin. Down low, Gallagher tried to center. That's blocked. Now it gets through and they score! Alex Newhook! Point blank in front on the power play. Surely that's got to be enough. 3-goal lead with 2:25 to play.
Brendan Gallagher just keeps on trying as he collects this puck down below the Caps goal line. First time he tries to get it out, he's looking for Kapanen. It doesn't make it, comes right back to him, and he rifles this puck out into the slot, finds Alex Newhook's stick. Newhook looks up, finds his favorite spot. Top left, beats Charlie Lindgren over his glove, and that should just about do it.
Center ice face-off. Habs win it. Newhook's first of the postseason. And it just gets flung right in on Charlie Lindgren. He's going to hang on for the whistle. Newhook scored his first NHL goal in the playoffs. Is a member of the Colorado Avalanche back in 2021. Stanley Cup run with him in 22. And now another insurance marker tonight in Game 3 for the Montreal Canadiens. The St. John's Newfoundland native has made it 6-3.
Well, there's been a lot of line juggling of late for Alex Newhook. You got to wonder how you handle that. He handles it by making it simple as he gets to that high slot, finds that goal.
Habs win the face-off, back to the line, floated wide by Carrier. Back behind the net, picked up by Anderson. Taken away by Alexiev. Come back behind the Washington net. Here's Gallagher. Trying to twist away. It's picked up by Anderson. Feeds it back to the point. Matheson works it around the boards. Over to Gallagher. He takes a bump from Ovechkin. Near side. Pierre-Luc Dubois. Minute 45 to go in the game. 6-3 Montreal. Shots 40-19. Capitals start ahead towards center. Played off the near side boards. Here goes Taylor Radish. Angled off by Joel Armia. And the Canadiens push back ahead to center ice. In over the Washington line. Armia far side. Tried to center off a stick, and it goes high out of play over the glass.
Well, what do you see from Armia as he collects that puck down behind Jakub Dobeš? Skates it up, doesn't have any hesitation that it's going to be him that's going to carry it all the way deep in the Washington zone. Waits all kinds of time.
Face-off of the Washington zone comes right in front for Charlie Lindgren. And he'll jump out to cover this up with a minute 15 to go.
Minute 15, and this is where the pushing and shoving starts. Guys start to take and taking some names, and now they're starting to collect. You're Marty St. Louis right now. I think you keep your guys on the bench. No problem getting Kapanen in time. No problem getting behind him in time. Don't think Caulfield needs to be out there right now. Neither Suzuki.
Capitals take it away, try to force it out to center. They can't get there. Rasmus Sandin back around behind his own net, up the wing to the neutral zone. Corralled by Savard. Off the jack eye. Back to Savard as we enter the final minute. Rasmus Sandin hands it off to Lars Eller. Leonard down the far side, cuts through into the slot. Leonard with a shot that's stopped by Jakub Dobeš. Slammed off the boards and out to center by Oliver Kapanen. Matt Roy off the glass and in. Jack-Eye back to pick it up. 30 seconds to go. Jack-Eye will sit on it behind the net. Passing off to Savard. Stretching to center. Ramped in by Anderson. Van Riemsdyk passes off. 10 seconds left. These fans have waited almost 8 years to the day for something like this in the postseason in Montreal again. And tonight, nobody in Montreal leaves disappointed. 6-3, the final score for Montreal.
First game this evening, it was a must-win for the Montreal Canadiens. The building delivered, and the Habs delivered. Caps will have a lot to think about and some concerns as well as they saw their goalie Logan Thompson leave this game early. Canadians have those same concerns, but at least know that they've got another game here in Montreal. They'll be feeling good about themselves heading down to the locker room.
Time now for the play of the game, brought to you by Tim Hortons, official partner of the Montreal Canadiens. And off to Dylan Strome. Give it away at center to Uri Slavkovsky. Rolling in, off to Caulfield, back and forth. Scores! Caulfield to Slavkovsky. And for the first time tonight, it's a multi-goal lead for Montreal. The insurance marker from Uri Slavkovsky, his first career Stanley Cup playoff goal tonight. Fifth goal for Montreal, what turned into a 6-3 final. Now a 2-1 series lead for the Washington Capitals. As the Montreal Canadiens make their way off the ice, we will hand it off to PA announcer Michel Lacroix for the Molson 3 Stars.
Match de ce soir, tonight's Molson 3 Stars. La troisième étoile, the third star, Uri Slavkovsky. La deuxième étoile, the second star, Alexandre Carrier. Et la première étoile, the first star, Cole Caulfield!
Well, this was Montreal's best chance to get into the series, and guess what? Here they are. Winners tonight, 6-3. They're back down by just a game. What a thriller tonight. Playoff hockey's back in Montreal. The Habs are winners tonight as we send it off to the Delmar postgame show with your host, Mitch Gallo.
Thank you very much, Victor. Delmar postgame show coming up next here on TSN 690. And we want to hear from you at 514-790-1690, 11690 on the text message board. Pretty much, Habs beat the Caps in Game 3. What do you have to say about it? 514-790-1690, 11690 on the text message board. Of course, we will get you some reaction from inside the Canadiens dressing room, and we will also get you the coach's comments with Martin St. Louis. The Delmar postgame show is coming up next here on TSN 690.
Your date just asked for your Wi-Fi, but you have cable internet. Don't panic. Remain calm and reply with, "Darn, I forgot my password." Or, "The modem is at the shop." The modem shop. Or simply, "Internet. What's internet?"
Embarrassed by your internet? Just switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's most trusted internet. Visit bell.ca to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards, or the brute strength of the defenseman, each player has his own style of dominating the ice. You can expect the same from Ford. All electric, hybrid, or gas engine, the power you choose reveals your distinctive drive. Quebec Ford dealers, proud partners of the Montreal Canadiens.
When it's ultra hot out and you think you've got the ultra fix, we've actually got the real deal. Ultra efficient, ultra energy saving, and yep, ultra eligible for grants too. For your heating and cooling systems in Quebec, it's UltraTech. Beer, chips, popcorn. Score big at your neighborhood voisin without missing a second of the action. Stock up on game day essentials before the puck hits the ice at Voisin, proud partner of the Montreal Canadiens. Voisin, whenever you need us.
With Connor McKenna and Sean Starr, it has everything you need. From Star's eternal optimism to McKenna's unbridled honesty. Don't miss the 3-star quiz at 7:30 and the very best hockey insiders, including TSN's Darren Dreger.
What is the next phase of this young man's career? Maybe it's right before our eyes.
Wake up with a morning show with McKenna and Star. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on TSN 690.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. Get 500 for $70 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
No one captures Montreal moments better than Mitch Melnick. When the city is buzzing, when a championship is on the horizon, there's only one radio icon that can bring it all to life. From the roar of victory to the agony of defeat. Feel the emotions of Montreal sports through the voice of Mitch Melnick. Melnick in the afternoon with Mitch Melnick, John Still, and Andy Bennett. Weekday afternoons from 2 till 6 on TSN 690.
Whether it's the electrifying saves of a goalie, the versatility of the forwards.
Same thing happened. We felt good about our chances. We felt we were a better team than Vancouver. We felt that we should have wrapped up the series earlier against Vancouver, but that's the greatest thing about sports. You can think all you want, but the reality is they got a heartbeat over there too. They got pride over there too. They're there for a reason because they're a great team. And here we are in Game 7 and happen to go out and execute a great game plan to beat a very hungry, very young, very physical, hard team to play against in Vancouver. And luckily for us, we had a lot of experience. We had a dynamic, incredible amount of talent with Brian Leach and Sergei Zubov, Alex Kovalev, Adam Graves, and Mike Richter in net, and then sprinkled in with some veterans, some hardened veterans with McTavish and Tikkanen and Steve Larmer and Noonan and Mateau and Jeff Bukaboom and Jay Wells and all the amazing players that banded together that year to create maybe not the most skilled team that's ever won a Stanley Cup, but if you look up the word team, they could put the 1994 Ranger team right there, and that year, that team epitomizes what a team is all about.
SiriusXM has soccer covered end to end. SiriusXM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's SiriusXM FC on Channel 157.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 936, Hurricanes on Internet 924. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 930. Kings on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 936, Hurricanes on Internet 924. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 930. Kings on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
Six-time Stanley Cup champion and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier stopped by SiriusXM NHL Network Radio's The Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin to discuss what Game 7 means to him and what it's like to also lose a Game 7.
Well, when you think about the two greatest words in sports, you think about Game 7 for many reasons. Obviously, to get to a Game 7, both teams obviously very evenly matched from the literal sense, the Game 7. You don't have to be a sport fan to understand that something's big at stake and that you will go watch it even if you don't know the teams, you don't know the players, you know the backdrop, because it's the greatest form of reality TV in the world, because there is going to be a winner and a loser. A lot at stake, obviously. But for me personally, it's a lifetime journey to acquire the skill set that's required to be able to perform when the stakes are the highest, under the most scrutinized pressure, when you're expected to perform. And you think about a Game 7 moment or Game 7, that's when you have to perform. It's a winner or go home situation. And what are the skill sets that are required to do that? Obviously, we've practiced our game and honed our skill set for years and years and years, tens of thousands of hours of honing our skills. But emotionally, mentally, what prepares you to play in those moments and perform when you're expected to? That, I think, is what really defines a Game 7 moment for the players that have excelled in Game 7 moments. And what are those life lessons that we can teach our young boys and girls, and the skill sets required to do that? The breathing, it's being able to slow your heart down and your blood pressure goes up, and your decision making is rash, and concentration varies because of all of it. What allows you to kind of really slow down and use your God-given talent, and then obviously the repetitions through your whole life that you know you can do it. You just got to be able to do it when it matters most. It's like hitting a home run, and like Aaron Boone did, or doing something special at the right moments. And I think the educational part of the docuseries is really fascinating to me there, to help our young boys and girls who will be faced with big decisions in their life. And you don't have to be a sport fan to have a Game 7 moment in life. Everybody's faced with decisions that are going to alter the trajectory of their lives in one way or another there, and we're trying to figure out what those skill sets are.
What does it feel like to lose a Game 7?
Fortunately for me, I never experienced what the Oilers did last year, of going all the way to the end in a championship game and losing in a Game 7. Anytime you get to a Game 7, it's a hard journey to get there. Two teams, evenly matched. It's been a war. It's been a tug of war. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's tired. And then to lose that is devastating. I think about my own experience in Game 7, winning 7 of them. The two still hurt to this day. What could I have done different?
I've got all the streams roaring, ready to go. We're having fun here in the chat. Thank you for being part of this amazing community. And just by being here, every single view, every single like, every single subscribe helps this community grow. And in turn, our presence on social media and throughout the world gets even bigger. And man, that donation, crazy. Now let's get back to the chat. Let's have some fun in there. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in the chat.
The Playoff Pulse campaign on Toronto Sports Insider is uniting fans worldwide through the thrill of NHL and NBA playoffs. Every game, every fan, every moment counts. The link is pinned in the chat and in the description. Check out our campaign page. Donate if you can, or share it with friends. Holy Mackinac! Every click helps SickKids heal the future. Just by being here, you have already made an impact. Now, chat it up, keep it classy, and let's keep changing the world one insider at a time.
To every child and family who've needed us since 1875, and all who support us, our hospital needs no introduction. But just in case, it's SickKids. And it's our 150th birthday. Our mission has always been healthier children, a better world. The first children's hospital in Canada, SickKids. Pasteurizing milk to prevent disease 30 years before it was mandatory. The heart-lung machine that transformed open heart surgery. A pediatric kidney transplant in 1969. SickKids. SickKids and SickKids. We discovered the gene for cystic fibrosis so patients live longer lives. And we just created the world's first Atlas of Cancer using machine learning to analyze 13,000 variations. Today, the hospital sees over 130,000 patients a year. We're a research powerhouse, a training magnet, attracting nearly 600 clinical and research fellows from around the globe every year. And we're the #1 publicly funded children's hospital in the world. We're celebrating 150 years of excellence, driven by philanthropy. What's next? Thanks to donors like you, we're going to keep healing Canada and the world, and we're going to heal the future.
Out those that wanted to be the hero and those that just wanted to avoid making the mistake. I mean, was that plain for you to see that there were those that wanted the puck on their stick with the game on the line that could thrive under pressure, and then you had the opposite as well?
I felt myself in those moments there defaulting to the more defensive side of the game. And then I played with my right winger who I won 6 Stanley Cups with, Glenn Anderson. He was the kind of guy that was trying to, really drive hard offensively and take the game and try to score the winning goal. And we're on the same line. Maybe that the difference of us in our mentalities worked perfectly. But everybody's wired different. Everybody's got fear, failure. The best have that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to internalize those feelings, but you can't let them paralyze you. And it's for me, going into a Game 7, I allowed myself to visualize what if we didn't win, leading up to the game, and then slowly as you get closer to the game, you allow yourself to kind of push the negative feelings aside, and you start to fill yourself up with all the great things that are going to happen and what you need to do to execute the game plan, and of course ultimately to seeing yourself holding the trophy. And as the game starts, all the negative and the positive go away, and then you drill yourself down into just executing the game plan, and you don't think about the what ifs and what should have been or what could have been. You just really kind of play in the moment. And I think trust becomes a massive word when you think about it. Can I trust every and each one of the players that are going out there to not only to do their part from a strategic standpoint, be in the right position, be in the right places at the right time, but not get undisciplined and take poor penalties at the wrong time because their ego is bruised and someone took advantage of them, then being able to hold all that in check. So there's just so many dynamics to think about for a team in order to overcome all the obstacles to win a championship. And it's fascinating to me. It's one of the reasons I was able to play 26 years, because once you do it, you understand how fun it is, but also how complicated and intricate it is to kind of get not only the team from a physical standpoint to come together, but how a team comes together emotionally, mentally, and the spirituality around a team, and the respect that lives inside that locker room is incredible.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 936. Hurricanes on Internet 924. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 930. Kings on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950. 8 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius 211, XM 219, and Internet 936, Hurricanes on Internet 924. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 930. Kings on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 932. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Friday, April the 25th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Washington Capitals. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 934, Capitals on Internet 950.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. Sirius XM, Channel 89.
Mark Messier is a 6-time Stanley Cup champion. He won 5 with the Edmonton Oilers and 1 with the New York Rangers, and is the only player to captain 2 teams to Stanley Cup championships. In Edmonton, after winning back-to-back Stanley Cup championships in 1984 and 85, it wasn't until 1987 where the team would win their 3rd Stanley Cup championship. Speaking on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Messier joined Scott Laughlin for the morning skate on Sirius XM Channel 91 to talk about what it was like to win that 1987 Stanley Cup Finals series against the Philadelphia Flyers, despite blowing a 3-1 series